again for another wonderful week of Triggered. Special guest, J-Duce from REDCON-1. Thank you so much, man.
Absolutely, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Representing.
So yeah, let's go into it. First, Zach, do you have any questions you want to blast out?
Let's see here. How long you been in the military?
Well, I retire here come February, so I'm still in, but I'm you know, I can taste it. I can feel it. That light at the end of the tunnel is right there. February I retire. My 20-year mark would be April 8th.
Okay.
2022. So I joined April 8, 2002. So yeah, coming up on 20 years. Like I said earlier, so quick little intro about myself. Jerry Lozano is not my legal name. That's just what my legal name is, Gerardo Lozano, but I got tired of white teachers not being able to say Gerardo. So Jerry Lozano is what I go by. J-Duce, Staff Sergeant Lozano, whatever you know me by. And yeah, I joined the Marine Corps a long time ago. So 20 years of that. When it comes to REDCON-1 music group, shit, that's going on 11 years almost since we started that. And then yeah, I mean, I'm ready for my next chapter as far as career wise. But you know, REDCON-1 till I DIE, that's never going to change.
Absolutely. You know, I was tracking it. Like, you guys just put out another hit, and you know, our man Soldier Heart put a little preview out, and you guys do so good with that in the sense of like marketing. Like, you let us taste that a little bit, and you're like, oh, by the way, the album's dropping. You know, the album's dropped next week or whatever. So I love how you guys do that. But get into a little bit, like, for the people who don't know you, what your music's about and what you guys are standing up for in your mission.
Absolutely. So our mission is to raise awareness, right, about PTSD, the veteran suicide rate, and just veteran issues altogether, right? To the public that doesn't know about these issues, we want them to know about it, right? But also at the same time, so it's kind of a dual purpose. At the same time, we want to speak on topics that they might not necessarily really connect with, right? But we want other veterans to connect and essentially know they're not alone. That's the biggest thing, right? A lot of people get out of the military, and I mean, it's a hard thing. You know, we'll get a little bit more about transition, but you know, for most of the guys that I've talked to, you know, they leave the military where you're somebody, right? You have a rank, you have your name right there, you have directions and a mission every single day. You know exactly where you fit in that whole structure, and you understand what the big picture is of what your unit is doing. And then all of a sudden, you know, now you're out in the civilian world, and you don't connect with people. Whatever job you get, it's hard to see the big picture when you don't, you know, get to see your CO regularly, know what the unit is about or the history. You know, most companies don't have the rich history that the many military units do. So they feel like they feel alone. They feel like there's nobody out there. So all of a sudden, you have these guys who are rappers, right? And they're playing music, and you're like, what the fuck is this shit about, right? That's kind of where you're like, what the fuck is this, you know? And then you listen to some of the stuff we're talking about, and it's like, oh shit, I'm not the only one that feels this way, right? That same camaraderie that you might feel when you reconnect with some of the guys from your old unit, or maybe some guys that you happen to meet in your hometown that were prior military. That same kind of connection we want to have through music, and then beyond that, and we created the REDCON-1 family as a whole. Because now there's REDCON-1, you know, fams. We call them fams for family. We don't believe in fans, but there's many of them that are very good friends themselves. You know, that they talk to each other, they keep each other accountable. The camaraderie is there amongst themselves. So it's not just us. I mean, us is just a handful of artists. We can't reach everybody, but we created this network that's been working out great. And to be honest with you, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I could never stop. At the height of it, you know, I was all in. You know, I had all you know, just doing big things, videos all the time. You think we're active now? It's nothing. There was a time when we had big plans. Our 5-year anniversary was just bananas. And then, you know, once it slowed down a little bit, you know, there was a time when priorities got in the way, and I was thinking of like, okay, you know, I had a good time. I did some shows, did some traveling, you know, whatever. I think it's time for me to hang up the microphone. You know, I mean, I'm 39 years old now. But I've never been able to, simply because, you know, a couple weeks might go by, maybe a couple months, sometimes a couple days But I always get that message from somebody who says, hey, man, I just want to reach out to you and let you know that your guys' music saved my life. When you get something so powerful like that, you just can't stop.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I mean, I started listening to the music probably a year ago. Tony turned me on to it. Never really heard it or anything, but you know, it's a connection that you can make if you actually sit down and listen to the words. Each and every one of them too. I mean, it's all, you guys lay it out there all plain and simple. You know, the phrase I like to do and say is Barney's style. That's the way it is, and you can connect to each song that you guys have, each song, each word, and you can feel that camaraderie again, just connecting with your music. I mean, you're not alone. You know, even the first couple verses, first couple minutes into the song, you know you're not alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know I first started listening back when I had kind of a crazy past prior to the military. I still, you know, like me and Zach did firefighting EMS before the military as well, and it was one of those things, like even in that brotherhood and sisterhood, like you can still connect to those lyrics, and you guys are bringing a message. It's more than just, you know, some good beats and some lyrics. Like you guys actually have a message, and it resonates with a lot more people, more than just military. And it's just like you guys in the music scene, I gotta say, at least for myself, was like touched so many lives. I mean, I know for myself, at least, when I heard like Warfighter, Stolen Valor, like some of these bigger ones that, you know, a lot of people know, it's like, and then you start going into the smaller, I guess, songs, like less popular ones. For me, the smaller ones hit harder for me, especially when I was in the military, because it like resonated even to that very detail.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll do songs in a variety of topics because we want to be able to, you know, to touch everybody. We want to be able to connect with everybody. And like you said, some of the more, you know, the broader, bigger issue songs, right? I mean, anybody that's ever worn, you know, the cloth, you know, understands the issues with Stolen Valor, for instance. That's a big thing, and it pisses us all off. And, you know, we were somewhat divided there, where some people were like, who gives a shit, man? I know what I did. I know what me and my brothers did. These fakers, like, whatever, you know, let them go to hell. I'm not going to waste any time on them. And there was other, you know, of our brothers who were like really pissed off at it. And all of us were somewhere in between, right? I can't say I was either one or the other. So we did that song to just kind of touch on it as a whole, and hopefully, you know, really touch base on feelings. That's the thing about music, is we can have a debate or a conversation, and you could be very eloquent. You could be a great, you know, a great communicator all around, and you're going to be able to exchange ideas, right? So it goes from the mouth to the ear up to the brain housing group, and we connect those ideas. We walk away from each other. I know what you think and how you see things, and you know how I see things, and from there, you know, you add to your own toolbox. However, with music, you're talking feelings, right? Feelings aren't up here. You know what I mean? They're down here in the heart, and that's what music can do. So aside from being able to talk about the topics through music, you can let somebody know, like, hey, man, I get it. Like, I'm pissed off too. And in that song, we get pretty aggressive, right? Talking about how what we're gonna do and stuff like that. But because it's song, you know that it's feelings, and it's just saying, hey, man, I feel it too. You know, and in the video, we kind of captured a little bit of that. But we also, you know, kind of made it how, you know, pretty much show how ridiculous it is when some of these guys, like, they look, anybody that's ever been in uniform knows that that's not a soldier, right? Dudes wearing like old, whatever the fuck, with like whatever fucking patch they found on their shoulder or whatever, you know, and, you know, army cover with a Marine, you know, whatever. But civilians don't know that, you know, and it's well intended when they want to help them, when they want to say thank you for your service. How are they supposed to know the fucking difference, you know? So you kind of take it with a grain of salt. So that being said, that's a big topic that everybody's going to connect to. Now, when you get to smaller topics, right, there's going to be some out there that song to you is going to mean nothing. You're going to be like, okay, cool. Yeah, I get it. I know about it. Cool. But it's not going to hit you here because you don't feel that, because maybe you didn't have to deal with that specifically. So we try to hit a range of topics so that the one that does hit you, it might not hit everybody else, right? 70% of people are like, all right, cool. Yeah, it's a cool song. Military topic. Got it. Check. You know, but to you specifically, if you dealt with that, then, you know, to you, it's going to mean a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's crazy. You know, you were saying like the video for Stolen Valor. I remember watching it and kind of laughing a little bit. Like you can, for us, like people who served or seen that, you know, I mean, you can tell that a mile away. Like you were saying, like the one dude had the beret on, but like with the ACU patch, with like, you know, the Marine, you know, pants and shit. It's just like, what are you doing, man? But like,
Yeah.
we see that out here, like where we live. I gotta say, we have a lot of vets, and they take that shit seriously. And there's a lot of respect out here for that. And even the ones who haven't served still understand and know and respect. But like when I go into like some of my cities around here, people come, oh, can you help a homeless vet? I'm like, okay, where'd you serve? Or, you know, what was your station or this or that? And they're like, oh, I was in the Army. Okay, cool. What was your MOS? Infantry. Yeah, but what was your MOS?
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Yeah, like
Marine or
you play 20 questions with them now.
Yep.
It's I do the same thing when I go into Albany. It's crazy.
Yeah, and think about this also, right? If us as veterans want to kind of rile up the civilian world to say like, hey man, like you need to vet these guys. A lot of them are fakers. Ask them some stuff. Like, you know, here's some of the, like a lot of times we'll coach our friends, right? Oh, here's 3 things you can ask them, right? However, some veterans are that way because they're so pissed off about the stolen valor and these douchebags getting away with it. But also they're the ones that when they go somewhere and they say, yeah, I'm a veteran, you know, and then they get asked a couple questions and they're flabbergasted. They're like, oh my God, like get off my fucking back, bro. I didn't go out there and fight for you to fucking be free, for you to fucking sit here question me. Like, dude, pick a lane. You know what I mean? Like which, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I would rather go somewhere and because you got to think, let's I don't know, let's whether it's a mom and pop restaurant down the street or or fucking Home Depot, right? If they give a 5-10% military discount, those companies are huge, and 5 or 10% discount is nothing for every veteran that comes in. So I would rather them like loosen up their questioning and whatever you show that says you're a veteran and they give you the discount. Yeah, maybe a few douchebags are going to get a discount too, but it's, you know, it's a drop in the bucket. I would rather live in that world than the world where a distrustful world, right? Where they're asking everybody, they're vetting everybody. So now you go there after maybe you lost some brothers, you've been through some shit. It might have cost you, you know, your family in a divorce. And now you have to sit here and explain to a civilian who's never, they're just doing their job. They're doing what management told them. You have to sit here, you know, explaining to them that you're a veteran and how you can prove it. Yeah. Because, oh, by the way, they have no idea, right? You tell them, oh, I did this. You're trying to give them information, but to them it means nothing. They don't know what the fuck a DD-214 is. They look at it as a piece of paper. It says you're in the Army. You could type something up on fucking, you know, on Excel that looks nothing like a DD-214. It just somewhat looks official. It's got the stamp on the top might say President of the United States. It's not even the right, you know, logo. Yeah. And you give it to them and they don't know any difference, but it says there that you were in the Army, infantry. Okay. Cool. And then, you know, like MOS, war hero, like whatever, they don't know. So they're going to be like, oh, okay, thank you, sir. You know, like, they don't know. So I'd rather live in a world where we trust each other and we hold each other accountable when we can without sitting here, you know, becoming enemies of our, you know, within our own society than one where it's full of distrust and, you know, and everybody's getting questioned left and right. That's just my stance on it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So you were saying you're almost close to the end zone. You're at that white line. I mean, I know when I got out on medical discharge. Zach got out on his reasonings. Honorable. Yep. We both got honorable, but in like different ways.
Right.
I mean, like, man, 20 years, that's a long time. That's I couldn't even imagine. I mean, but like what is your mindset right now going into the civilian world? Like, okay, I was trained this way and now I have to pretty much flip the switch and go into something else.
It's hard to describe because you know, in one way I'm very excited, right? I'm very excited to be able to take my daughter to school every once in a while to you know, not have to explain to her, you know, or to my wife that this big thing that's coming up, yeah, I can't be there. Oh, you know, your sister's getting married, somebody who, you know, we literally lived with us when she was a 13-year-old teenager struggling. You know, she lived under our roof, and you know, I basically, you know, might have fathered her for a couple of years, and now I can't even be her at her wedding because of whatever, right?
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to there's a lot of people get out of the military thinking that, oh, I can't wait to get out so I don't have to deal with the bullshit. And you guys already know that there's bullshit on both sides. It's just a little bit different, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've always kept that well and alive in my head that the military is not the only place where you deal with bullshit. It's just different bullshit, right? So I'm looking forward to not have to deal with that same bullshit, and I'm looking forward to dealing with normal bullshit.
New bullshit.
So I'm looking forward to the transition. But if I have to be honest, I'm also scared, man. I mean, it's scary. You know what I mean? Like every day for 20 years, I've gotten so good at what I do. And the assignments might have changed. Whether it's aviation or drill instructor duty or whatever, the assignments might change, but the formula is there. And you get taught the formula from the very beginning. All you have to do is, adjust a little bit, but apply those basic fundamentals, and you're going to succeed anywhere you go. And I've always enjoyed working with Marines. I've had. That's how I was able to do 20 years. Is I always look at the, I don't want to say just the positive side, but I count my blessings if that makes sense. So now all that's going away. I'm going into a different world where, and another thing is, going into real estate, like I tell my friends, I'm like, yeah, dude, like this is rough. I mean, the percentage of realtors who fail within their first year is very high. Shit, the percentage of realtors who fail their state exam the first time around is like 72%, so I was surprised that I passed my first time. I walked out of there thinking like, man, I fucked it up. Open up that little envelope and it said, congratulations. I'm out there in the parking lot high-fiving myself, right? And it's not a lack of confidence. It's just that in the military, you can pretty much know what's going to happen after a while. You know how it works. You know how the river flows, and now you're going into uncharted territory. So when I tell my friends, like, yeah, it's scary, I don't know, they're all like, dude, you're going to kill it. You're going to do so great. You're going to blah, blah, blah. Nobody's told me like, yeah, man, like, yeah, like you better watch out. No, everybody's like, dude, you're going to do fucking great. That just adds to the pressure. I want somebody to tell me like, yeah, you suck at this. You might need to work on that. That way I have somewhere to go. But everybody's just like, dude, you have all the skills. You're going to be fine. You know marketing, because I'm good at talking to people. I've never had any sales training. I never did a recruiting duty or anything. I wish I had. But I have a certain skill set that's probably above the average realtor that comes in. But that still doesn't guarantee success. And the change is definitely something that's a little bit scary. So, how can I describe the feeling? It's just, it almost feels like when I was going to boot camp the first time, where you think you know what you got coming, but you have no idea. You're excited to go, but also you're scared of shit. Whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was what made you come to the decision to be done with the Marines? Was it I'm guessing it's probably a bunch of things, but what in your heart and mind that you wanted to step away? Is there a certain point or a certain how do I say it?
Well, I'll say this, right? Full disclosure, right? I'm an E6. I can only do 20 years. I can't go past that.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So now, if I would have picked up rank, would I go past 20 years? I think I would have, only because I didn't know. Now that I'm close to the end, I'm actually exploring my options and looking beyond the uniform.
Yep.
And everybody that retires, because my peer group, like I'm a E6, but my peer group, some of my best friends are sergeant major, and mass sergeants and first sergeants. That they were the guys that I came up with. They just didn't have the fuck ups that I had. So they were able to get promoted, right? But those guys are still my friends. They understand. They know my leadership. They know my abilities. They think that I should have been promoted, but I understand there's a system there, and I fucked it up, right? But a lot of those guys, when they did retire, they're like, dude, you're going to love it. Retire. It's great out here, blah, blah, blah. All the shit that stresses you out in there, the stuff that stresses you out here after being a Marine for 20 plus years, that shit is nothing, or even guys that, they got out after however many years, right? They all, it's initially it's hard, right? That hump after you get your DD-214, you go back home and you're like, now what? But after a while, once you get rolling, what do you tell your friends? Dude, it's great out here. Like, yeah, I miss that. I miss the camaraderie and all that stuff. But dude, it's great out here. Life is good. So when they're sitting there telling me that, I think if I had got promoted and had any excuse to, I don't know, almost in a way hide in service, because I don't want to like now I say, what do I want to do when I grow up? Right now I'm forced to grow up. Now I have to be like everybody else. And for the longest time, I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. Like I was looking at all this, you know, do I chase the money because I could be making good money with my qualifications right now? Do I chase location? Do I want to move to a lower cost of living area? Do I want to whatever? But finally, once I got to a certain point, I said I need to make my decision now. I don't want to do it at the you know at the last minute, you know, at the ninth inning. So at some point, I decided I'm going to go to school full time, and I'm going to get my realtor license and do that part time. If I sell 4 or 5 houses a year, then that's just extra income, you know. But in the meantime, and the closer I got to this realtor stuff, now I'm just like, I'm not going to waste my time, you know, using my GI Bill. I guess it's just going to go to waste. But maybe down the road I will. But for now, I'm just going to go all in on this just so I can be successful, because I see the competition out there. I see what it takes to be a good realtor, and I'm all in. It's all I know, guys. I don't know how to maintain and just kind of go at pace, you know, like. I have like when it comes to working out, I have two speeds. Yep. I'm a fat piece of shit who's not working out and not doing shit laying on the couch. And then once that gets overbearing and I kind of overdid it, now I'm fucking all in. I'm dieting. I'm fucking hitting the gym harder than any dude you see there. I'm all in or all out. You know what I mean? Those are the only speeds that I have. So I'm going all in on this, and you know, with the big picture is real estate investing, right? We own some rental properties now. Probably the past 4 or 5 years, financially, I really just set myself up for success. But I want to get that to a point where 10 years from now, at the age of 50 or so, before I used to say 55, but I've done so well that I think by the age of 50, I can completely just hang it up, do some traveling, you know, that residual income, and it will take care of itself and everything. So I'm just going to go hard the next 10 years so I can do that.
Yeah, enjoy life a little bit. Enjoy retirement.
I'm sorry?
Like, enjoy life, enjoy retirement, enjoy, family.
Yeah, dude, I don't want to wait till I'm fucking 68 and, fucking trying to travel to Acapulco and show off my liver spots and shit. Like,
right?
I want to do that while I'm still young enough, but I also don't want to be irresponsible and just, go YOLO right now and just live my life and not leave my kids anything. I come from a very, from I always say eating meat once a week. You know what I mean? Like I remember those days. I didn't know that it was because we were broke, but it was a lot of rice, beans, potatoes, and shit. And on Sunday, I remember we used to eat beans. My dad used to get 2 beers, like 32 ounce beers. That was his prize for working his ass off 6 days a week back then. I thought that was just life. I thought that my friends having stuff that I didn't was just because my parents wanted to be assholes. I didn't know that they couldn't afford it. So now, I want to follow the footsteps, and my parents did well, right? They got us out of that to where we are now, which is great. I want to take it to the next step where my kids have a much better start off in life.
That's
so
awesome.
far we're doing that. Yep. So far we're doing that. I just continue that.
I know me and Zach, we grew up very similar ways, even though we lived a distance away. We grew up very similar, just like a lot of pasta, a lot of fucking hot dogs, mac and cheese, type meals, a ramen noodle.
You gotta remember where you came from.
Yeah.
And try to give your kids, like I'm trying to give my kids, a better life than I had growing up. We lived paycheck to paycheck. Everything was a struggle in my childhood, and like you said, you see kids, your age have better stuff than you do, and they got the newest toy, this and that, and you're still playing with dirt and rocks. It's kind of, I look back at it and I'm thankful for it, because my parents worked their ass off. My mom, she was a school bus driver her whole life. My dad was a deputy sheriff, but still, shit was tough, and trying to give my kids a better life than I had is my number one goal.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was born in Mexico, so the days that I'm talking about was in Mexico. In Mexico, last I checked, when I turned 18, I looked into it just for my my essay. At the time, Mexico's minimum wage was equivalent of $70 for a 6 days a week, 10-hour work days. That was minimum wage.
Wow.
Right, and that's when I was 18. So I can only imagine what it was when I was like 4 or 5 or whatever. When I remember, you know, my dad working his ass off and us not having shit. We literally lived in like a little one room. You know, it was literally just one room. But you know, everybody has their story. But the point is, we all come, especially those of us that come from humble beginnings. We understand the value of getting to that next level and doing better for a family. You know, that's why the family's wealth, you know, has this flow of like some kids who grow up with rich parents, they don't understand what they have, so they lose it. Yeah. They might end up on the streets, they might end up dead ass fucking broke because they never had to work that hard for it, right? Or you see and it also has to do with education. That's why you see a lot of, you know, athletes or so. Yeah, they worked hard, but I mean, put it to this way, we've all been through some kind of basic training, right? And we probably, if you played sports, you remember Hell Week in football. Like, yeah, it's rough, it's hard, but it's fun. You're having fun, right?
Yep.
When you're over there getting fucked up because a guy 3 bunks down fucking from you moved, you know, that's completely different. Yeah. That's completely different. So yeah, athletes they work their ass off to get there, but some of them, you know, are very smart. Some of them are very just that they are these heroes that we make them out to be. But some of them, they just played the shit out of that sport that they love, became so good at it because that's all they cared about. And you can tell they make a bunch of money, but when that sport is done, you know, they end up with nothing. You know what I mean? Because they don't understand the value of what they had, because in reality, did they have to work hard for it? Yeah, in a way, right? The long days of practice and hitting the court or whatever. But in reality, they didn't have to work hard like somebody who builds that wealth from the bottom up, dealing with every aspect of what it takes to build that wealth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know I listen to a lot of Eric Thomas, and ET says, you know, he goes against, and just like me and Zach do, we go against those ones who came to the top because they don't have that dog in them. They don't have that bite. They don't have that drive.
You got to be a diamond.
Yeah, exactly. So, right, like you were saying, man. So real quick, we're going to do a quick commercial break. We're still live on the Facebook, on YouTube and all that. We're going to do a quick commercial break, probably about 30 seconds. And then we'll be right back. And we'll get into the future of what Mr. Jerry J-Duce is going into. Because I know we talked a little bit offline, but I'm excited, man. I'm excited. So we'll be right back.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to hit the latrine real quick. If you need to hit the latrine, even though we're still live, we're still good, man. All of our podcasts are uncensored, all that good stuff.
We got about 30 seconds?
Yeah, about, I mean, a minute.
That, man. I've been pissing on the floor this whole time. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? When you're small, you know, that military, man, they shrink that bladder. All right, everyone, we will be right back.
No spider butters. Nasty as fuck.
All right. My dog is passed right out. All right, everyone watching, still live, thank you so much for joining us. We have awesome special guests on J-Duce. First time Army beats Marines, you know. But no, it's good stuff. Sometimes you just need that piss break, you know. So yeah, it's crazy. I love her. I love this conversation, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Doing some technical stuff over here. If anyone on live wants to type in, please go ahead, do so now. I know we've had a couple people chime in already. Let us know who you are and what your question is. Let me hit the. All right, we are back. Quick segment, real quick. We hit Brazil yesterday, so we opened up Brazil. We are now in 15 different countries, so this is amazing to see this. And honestly, it's up. It's because of you guys, the people who are listening and sharing our content. You start out as me and Zach did in a small apartment with a
That was
shitty
the
ass
best. That was the
laptop
best.
with cats knocking shit over, and then and the next thing you know, 15 countries later, 37 states,
Yep.
merchandise, the whole nine. So it's amazing, the power of the internet, and we have a lot of stuff in the works. I mean, stuff that is mind blowing, but we have to keep that on the low until we come out with it. We don't want no one stealing our ideas, so
Yeah, no.
Got to keep that on the copyright shit.
So,
but all right, thank you again, Jerry, coming back with us. I mean, again, we really appreciate it. Okay, we have a question. What are your craziest stories while deployed? This is definitely for Zach and Jerry. Who is it?
George Coons.
This is from our cousin Georgie Coons.
everybody's your
Thank
cousin.
you for joining in. Everyone's our cousin out here, man. This is true. So, if you want, Zach, take that one away first. Your craziest story while deployed.
There's a couple. I was in northern Afghanistan, Mazar Sharif, and so I was in the maintenance section. I was a 91 Bravo. That's what I did. And when we were in Afghanistan, we had tents, the GP medium tents, Tony, So we had 6 rooms in each tent, and nobody really messed with maintenance.
If they were smart.
If they were smart, yeah. Headquarters, I mean, they mess with maintenance, but so our tent was in the middle, and right next to 2 tents down was the battalion commander. All the high brass, they slept out also in tents. They didn't. So us being maintenance, we were rowdy as all hell can be. We got hooked up with the special forces out there for liquor. We weren't allowed to have any alcohol out there, but we got hooked up with them. And so it was probably, I don't know, I want to say midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. We were just rowdy as all hell, having a party. It was Saturday. We didn't have to really do much on Sunday except for check the trucks. And we had music playing. One of our friends bought a TV over there, and just loud as shit. So I heard the door open from the high brass tent, and he comes shuffling out. He goes over to the tent next door and starts screaming and yelling at everybody else over there. Then he comes over to our tent. He opens the door, looks inside, closes the door, and walks away. I mean, we were all rowdy as shit over there in the maintenance section, and we would never get into trouble at all.
Crazy.
I mean, it was a crazy shit that we did. I mean, we played jokes on everybody out there. A lot of people don't know I was taught by an E7 in the maintenance section that on a Humvee, in where the engine is, underneath the engine, there is there's a sensor that's under there that you can pull that the Humvee won't start, and it won't show any fault codes why you do your PMCS or you put it on a machine. It's not going to show a fault code. So we would pull those on because headquarters they had not ATVs, UTVs, rhinos they could ride around the base with.
Yep.
And we would let them borrow them while we get their trucks fixed. Well, they would irritate us so much that we would pull that plug and their Humvee would sit in the shop for like weeks on ends. And either A, they would have to share the UTV, or B, they would have to walk. It was a good time over there for the most part. But yeah,
You make it
that's,
fun.
yeah,
gotta
you
make it fun.
do. You adapt and overcome. Our first night there, our air conditioner broke. One of our guys hung a towel up right next to the suction portion of the AC unit, and his fucking towel got sucked right in there, and we didn't have we didn't have AC in our tent for a week.
That sucks.
So
No sleep.
no
Bloody
no
balls.
sleep at all. Yeah.
Ugh.
So that was, I mean, it wasn't crazy, but it was a good time. We made the best of it for the time that we were over there. So
Good shit. Good shit. And what about you, man? What was your craziest time on a deployment? No matter, because I know you've been on quite a few, man. You know, just from the music side of it, you can hear it in the songs. You know.
Yeah.
So your craziest story while deployed.
It's so many. I can't say which one's crazy as how. So let's define that. Crazy like dangerous, or crazy like funny, or crazy like unbelievable, like the type of shit that nobody's gonna believe. And you know what I mean? Like
all of
crazy.
it. Let it go, man. Fuck it. I mean,
I have so many. I'm just trying to figure out. You know, I can't.
let's go with one that somebody won't believe.
On a Navy ship? Are we talking Iraq? Are we talking Afghanistan? You know, like are we talking Japan? Like,
well, I don't want to know what you did on the Navy ship. That's between you and the seamen. So let's try to find something else.
That's what was in my protein shaker. Just so you guys know.
right.
That's how I keep the guns up. You know.
So he says, "Let's go with the unbelievable. The unbelievable that
unbelievable.
Unless you were there, no one else could even think of."
I have plenty of those too, but okay. So here's one that comes to mind, right? Because it's kind of I guess that now that I'm like bringing out all the categories, it's kind of a mix of everything. But so when I was in Iraq, right, we were in TQ was the fob that we were at, and this place, we used to get mortared a lot. Probably on average, you know, it'd be twice a week, right? Sometimes it'd be more, sometimes it'd be less. But I would say for the 6-7 months that I was there, it was an average of twice a week. So, but the Iraqis that were sending these mortars, they were getting old mortars from back in the day, old Soviet mortars. They didn't even know how to work them. So what they would do, you know, without getting too, you know, engineer or scientific or whatever, but if you heat metal, what does it do?
Expand.
And if you freeze it, what does it do?
Contract
a little bit, right? So it was easy. They would freeze the tubes. Right, they would freeze the mortar tubes, and then they would go out there and you know, way in the morning while it's still cold or while it's still dark, and they would set the mortar. The tube is frozen, so when they set the mortar on top of the tube, it doesn't actually go in; it just sits there, and then they would go away. So now, once the sun comes up, that mortar tube heats up, it expands. At some point, that mortar's going to and actually, you know, but by then we would try to figure out who the fuck did that. There's nobody there, right? That was very, very common. However, they have no education, right? I mean, if you know the history of Iraq and these people that are doing that, a lot of them, they had no choice. Some of them didn't even want to attack us, but when somebody shows up to your house and your family's tied up and they're like, hey, and the note says either you know, shoot at the Americans or do this with this mortar or your whole family dies. They had no choice, right? Not that would stop us from fucking shooting them in their forehead, but I mean, if it's them or us, right? Anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Survival of the fittest, man.
Yeah, so they sucked at shooting these mortars. This area was so big. The little camps were, you know, spread out. So 90% of the time they didn't hit anything. Literally nothing. And out of that 10% of the time when they did hit something, it would be like, I don't know if you guys know what Heskelberries are. I don't know if you guys were out there, but Heskelberries is basically picture of a metal cage with a sack put on it so it keeps it square, and then they fill them with sand, and that's what built the walls and stuff for a lot of our barriers out there. It's just a cheap way of building those fobs out there. A lot of times the angle would come in, it wouldn't land straight down where that mortar's gonna explode and hit more people. It would come at an angle, boom, and like maybe all explode into one area, maybe into a Heskelberry or something like that. So most of the time they didn't kill anybody. Sometimes they got lucky, and yeah, I mean, it landed right in a Humvee with personality, and that was it. Or luckily, it never landed by like the Chow Hall or by anything big like that, and at least not while I was there.
Yeah, 'cause
But
you gotta keep your DFAC. You gotta keep your chow. That's
yeah,
key.
you have to, right? That's the morale right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we would get these mortars all the time. Now, one day we're sitting there, right? At this point, I'd been out there a few months, so I'm an aviation mechanic by trade, but I mean, you're a maintenance. You guys call them echelons. We just call them different levels. I was a higher echelon to where they called me when they couldn't get the jet engine up, right? They only had so much troubleshooting they could do. I was the guy that could go in there and really, really get into it. I understand how jet engines work in and out, or I would be the one to make the call, like, yeah, this jet engine is no good. Take it out. I'd replace it for them. So when I did work, I'd work days at a time with like a cot literally next to the aircraft, get enough sleep to be able to safely do my job, like get 4 hours and back at it. They're bringing me chow so I can keep working. But I would also go weeks with literally nothing to do, right? So then I started running production control, which pretty much handles like all the maintenance that needs to happen at that level, gear coming in and out, whatever. But point is, it was this small little office, and you guys remember how buildings were made out there. It's basically just plywood.
Plywood.
Right?
Yep. That's it.
Plywood with minimal framing, and that's it. There's no, it wasn't double plywood or just a single sheet of plywood with minimal framing that's going to hold up the plywood, and that's it. And we have these desks that we made out of 2x4s and plywood also. So we're sitting there. All of a sudden, you felt this weight, right? Like Thor dropped the hammer, we're like way out there or something. Everybody felt it, and we're like, what the fuck was that? So we all kind of did what we normally did when the alarm would go off or when we could hear the whistling but we didn't hear any whistling this time, maybe because we were talking loud or whatever. But we all took a knee next to the desk. We all sat there for a while, like waiting for the alarm to sound. Alarm never sounded. As soon as the alarm goes, everybody goes to the bunkers, right? But no alarm. What the hell's going on? And this office was small. Like the depth of it must have been, I don't know, maybe 20 feet plus an additional, 8 feet from this little back office that was where the captain used to sit. And that's it. That's the depth of the of this building. The width was maybe 15, 20 feet also. So we're sitting there waiting, like, what the hell's going on? Who knows? After a while, we just kind of gave up. And it wasn't no more than 10 or 15 minutes later, this guy Johnson walks in, and he's like, dude, you guys aren't going to fucking believe this. And as soon as that's all he had to say, we all got up, went out the door, which was in front of us, and had to walk around because there was no back door to this building. Right behind the building, I'd say no more than, 15, 20 feet behind the rear wall, there was a mortar sticking straight out of the ground, right? It had landed in the sand. It didn't go off for whatever reason. It was sitting there sticking, 3 feet off the ground. It was a big motherfucker.
That's crazy.
Just sitting there. It never went off. If it would have went off, we would have all been, that would have been it. It was literally right there, so
wow. That's
fucking, I still think about that to this day because I wouldn't be here, if that thing would have gone off. But because of that, I started looking into like how they tried to operate these mortars and how they tried to use them. And a lot of times they'd set this mortar, they would completely overshoot the base and like it land on the other side. So then they would literally pop the mortar open and then maybe just get rid of some of what was inside so it wouldn't travel as far. They did the jankiest shit because they had no education on how to use these weapons. So maybe they fucked with this mortar, or maybe it was just an old Soviet mortar that just wasn't going to go off. But most of the mortars that landed, I never knew of one that landed and didn't go off.
I was going to ask that.
Speaking of that too, we were in. We had to travel to kill a guy, which was south of Mazar Sharif, and we were out there. And the Scan Eagle guys, you know what the Scan Eagle is?
No.
No. Okay, so a Scan Eagle is a drone, basically a drone plane.
Yeah.
It's a group of guys. They're called the Scan Eagles, and so their tent was down there, and they captured how the Afghans would position the tube and everything. It was actually amazing to watch because they would use rocks. So they'd have a whole bunch of them on top of the fucking hill behind the base, and if it would go over, they would remove a rock, add a rock, remove a rock. They would fucking slide the tube down, and the Scan Eagle guys would just sit there and watch them.
Yeah,
just fly above them. They wouldn't even know we were there.
And they're quiet.
And it was fucking amazing, until the Apaches came in. But
then it was amazing.
Yes, But I mean, it was
Well.
just they have no education, but the way they adapt, you know, just simple as moving a rock, you know, brought that mortar in. I mean, one hit, I think 25, 30 feet from the ECP, from the front ECP gate. And but just sitting there watching them for, you know, 5-10 minutes, you know, figure out which rock to place where that mortar is going to land. And the funny thing is down in Killaguy, you could stand on the barriers. Wasn't allowed, but we did anyways. You could stand on the barriers, and off to your left, probably about a mile, 2 miles, there was a prison where they kept Tier 1 suicide bombers in that prison there, and you could see them walk around outside in the fenced area. That was amazing. I've never seen that before when I was there.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, because we, you know, I say these guys were uneducated, right? They're not dumb though.
No.
Right? These people are not dumb at all.
Nope.
They're just uneducated. They don't have the education. If you get we would be the same way. If you, the first time you touched an AR-15, you didn't know what the fuck all those buttons were for. You know, you just thought that it was automatically going to make you fucking Rambo just because you had it. Quickly you find out not so much. Imagine having to learn how to work that simple weapon system without any guidance. Just fucking playing with buttons and shit and figuring out. You know, I mean, windage and shit. Imagine having to figure. Well, you guys in the Army, you guys don't get taught windage, but but imagine having to figure out how to use a weapon system just by fucking around with it, rather than actually getting a period of instruction and some practice and qualification.
What happens if the weapon jams? How to, you know, you gotta
exactly. Right. Oh, I guess I'm throwing this one away and find another one. You know, like
exactly.
It's broken, it's dead. Like,
can't use it.
It's amazing how they adapt and overcome it, and it's crazy. And what I was going to ask, man, is like when that mortar hit, like, did they have like EOD come out and like, fucking, okay, I would say because like just sitting there like a big fucking statue, like, oh yeah, we're just gonna leave that there for a while.
Is your EOD quicker than our EOD?
Who, us?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, at the time, I'm trying to remember. This is 2006.
Okay.
I'm not sure that we had EOD there. I think we were I think we were still using the Navy EOD. I know that in the beginning, Marine Corps EOD was not a big thing. It is now, but back then I don't think we had a very large force, so we would rely a lot on Navy EOD or Army EOD.
Yeah,
Army
Navy
EOD
was
ever.
pretty good. Yeah. Army took what's that? 45 an hour.
We sat on the side of the road for probably almost 2 hours waiting for EOD to get there.
Oh, all EODs do that from you know, from what I understand, like all EODs do that, and it just depends how busy they are and so on and so forth, you know.
And they want to prepare to the top, like the worst case scenario. They want to prepare for that just in case. So I understand, but sometimes it's like, come on, let's go. I remember on Fort Drum we had a small situation where they shut down the it was a bridge to the old base and the new base, they called it or whatever, and because they saw a bag on like a book bag on the side of the road. Some kid decided to be smart and threw his book bag out, but they shut down the road for that part, and which sucked because I was coming from aviation, going from aviation to my house took 15 minutes. If you took the bridge. If you didn't, it took almost a half hour going all the way around. And MPs were there like, no, if you gotta turn around, you gotta. I'm like, what? You know, what the fuck are you doing, man? But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about, you know, it takes a half an hour to go all the way around, or waiting on the side of the road for 2 hours, or shit. I've heard longer, right?
Well, yeah.
I've heard literally all night, set up security. We're gonna be here until EOD comes. But all that, you know, as soon as you do it wrong one time or somebody rushes it and you lose one life, you realize all that is nothing. It
time
ain't.
is absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, I mean, that's probably the craziest story, you know, that kind of encompasses all. But from there, dude, I have so the Navy ships are funny because they turn into like a floating prison almost, right? Like it was crazy to me. On shore, you know, everybody's doing their thing. First of all, like the Navy's cool. You know, I was impressed by their work ethic and their ability to just give a shit about the big mission, even though they were their part of it was just this, excuse me, this little piece. You know, I think that gets ingrained in them from the beginning because it's a whole operation to,
Absolutely.
you know, to have one of those ships do what they do. So they were great, but as soon as we hit international waters, it was almost like somebody flipped the switch that the Marines didn't know. But all the Filipinos over here, all the, you know, Hispanics over here, the blacks over there, the whites over here, like it just became like a prison where it was like racially segregated. Now, I'm not saying it's like prison, like where everybody was beefing with each other or anything like that, but definitely everybody stuck to their own, and everybody, the Filipinos, at least in that ship, and from what I understand, a lot of the Navy, the Filipinos ran that shit. Like they had the hookup, anything you needed. If you were in good with one of the Filipinos, you could get, you know. Like,
so before I ended up joining the Army, of course, I looked at all my options. Air Force, they saw me and they were like, "Get the fuck out, guy! Like you're not even close. Go," you know. And then I said, "Let me check the Navy. You know, Navy, Marines, whatever. They're cool. They got a lot of cool shit." And I knew the Navy firefighting background was really good. So I'm like, "Cool, damage control, hall technician, something like that." And I was talking with my recruiter who was Filipino, and she's like, "Listen," she's like, "You know, you're not Filipino, but you're white, so you're like second or third, so you could do something good." I'm like, "Really? It's like that?" And she's like, "I'm telling you, when you get deployed, like that shit's real. Like they have the best food, the best resources." She's like, "Just make a Filipino friend, you'll be good." Like that was she was telling me this. I'm like, "Bet.
Yeah.
All right, you're giving me this info. I got this."
And from my experience, that's on the ship, right? On the ship out in international waters, but on land, it doesn't work that way, right?
Oh,
on
totally
land,
different.
Filipinos are still Filipinos. They're still like whatever, they talk funny and this and that, you know, like whatever, you know. And I live in San Diego. That's Filipino central. Like, you know, there's a lot of Filipino people out here. But yeah, it was just crazy how that worked. And I remember the little ship store, right? We're out there, and they would at the time, Red Bulls were like a hot commodity.
Mm.
So they would reload us, and then it was like you have to wait in line, and you could only buy like 4 Red Bulls per person until for the first day or whatever. So to make sure that everybody got some, and then after that, then it would be wide open. But by then, like they would run out. But yeah, you'd see this Filipino dude walking out of there with the whole case, no shame. You'd be like, dude,
here we go.
These were mine. I was just keeping them in their like whatever, you know. They had their, you know. So if you were in with the Filipinos, you could get anything, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Navy was a good time.
I love it. The interaction's awesome, man. And we're still gonna get on your future because you gotta hit that definitely. But the next question is, what were some of the best scenery y'all have ever seen in service? Like screensaver picture type shit. I know, I'll just start out real quick. My favorite thing when I was stationed up at Fort Drum was coming from Philadelphia down into Fort Drum area, and it was all fields. And I love the snow. I'm a snowman. I love the cold. And like fields were just crystals, and you could literally see it in the air. It was like sparkles and glitter, and it was amazing. Like just seeing the small stuff like that was just so beautiful. So to answer that question, for me, that's what that was. Just seeing like how cold it was, but literally the air was freezing around us. Like it was just so cold, but it was so beautiful at the same time. It was like a winter wonderland, pretty much.
They're so boring.
So, Zach, what would you say? What would be the best scenario you've ever seen? Ever?
I was trying to find a picture I took in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
It's on my phone somewhere. We had all the trucks lined up in front of the mountains, and it was just so Mazda Sharif was kind of like a dust bowl. It was just mountains all the way around. I mean, their city was out there. Their mosque was fucking beautiful. It was picture a temple in Russia, you know, with the domes and shit on top of it. But these things were bright blue. Mm-hmm. The building was completely white. I mean, this thing was just, it was amazing and we could see it from our maintenance bay that we were working out of. And you could stand up on top of the truck and just look at it, look right out into the city. And, you know, that has to probably be one of the best sceneries I've ever seen. besides here in New York and anywhere else. But going to a different country and actually having boots on ground and looking at what they have. I remember a guy who worked. His name was Yaman. I was pretty good friends with him. He told me about his family. I didn't say shit about mine. But he has 7 daughters that he was trying to put through school at the time, or educate them. And I remember talking to him, and his favorite thing was Monster energy drinks. Favorite thing. He loved it, but they weren't allowed to go inside our PX. So I would trade with him. That's the relationship that we had. So I would go in RPX, I would buy a case of Monster, and I would bring it to him. And I would get something from his shop. So I bought a couple scarves and stuff that I brought home and this and that. Nothing wild. I didn't buy a hookah like everybody else was buying.
Yeah, they all do.
It just I wasn't buying the knockoff ACOGs. It's just So I bought shit that I would remember. But just the scenery and talking with him and what he goes through and the shit that he goes through, just that for him to come onto the base is just absolutely ridiculous of what he has to. I understand the process. I get it. But just his side of life, what he's trying to do, if he's trying to make it over there, he had his own shop, he's not like the kid in the movies running around selling DVDs that skip half the time. But the scenery over there, when you got the chance to see it, I woke up 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning every morning. Don't know why, but I had a coffee pot in my tent. Everybody would come over and use it. Stewart's is a local coffee shop up here. They would send cases of coffee over to Afghanistan for me, and my door to my tent would be always open, so I'd always have coffee. Whatever, wasn't allowed to have anything like that in there, but like I said, nobody messed with maintenance. But the scenery over there was beautiful. I think that's one of the best screensaver sceneries, I'd have to say, I've seen.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, brother. So what about you, bro? What will be the best one you would say?
Probably Haji fucking a goat. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I had to put that one in there. I probably should have asked.
What comedy you bring, bro?
I probably should ask how R-rated this was supposed to get, but
explicit, whatever. It's all good. There's nothing censoring us. We just have fun. It's general talk, just like we are.
So, I mean, I have this ability to find beauty in everything, right? I think I've always had it just because I grew up in ugly. So when I left, southern New Mexico, just coming to, even in boot camp, boot camp, it sucks. Like you're sitting there some days just fighting back tears thinking, why the fuck did I come here? Like, what the fuck am I? I'm a grown ass man that has to ask permission to take a shit in the right verbiage, or they tell me to fuck off and I got to hold it for another day. Like, but even then, like I was by the beach. I could smell the ocean breeze. I saw palm trees, shit that I didn't grow up around. So I've had plenty of those moments. I remember in Okinawa, Japan, which is a small island, to the south of the mainland. It's basically like their version of Hawaii. And that was my first duty station. I remember being out there PTing. Like I didn't want to PT. I didn't want to fucking have to go run and shit. But all of a sudden I'd be like, what the fuck am I complaining about? Like we were kind of the air station was kind of on top of a hill, and you're running in these habu trails, which have up and down, and it fucking sucks to run on those. You just want to run on something flat at some point, but it doesn't exist out there. You have to do your PT test on that and shit. So, it's all negative. Like, man, fuck this. I don't want to feel like out here running this humidity. But sometimes I would just stop and like look out the gate, look past the fence. You could see the beach. You could see the ocean. Like what am I complaining about? So I've had plenty of moments where, to me, that is a screensaver moment. I mean, shit, if you've ever seen a sandstorm, right? If you ever seen a sandstorm in movies, you understand that that's exactly what the fuck it looks like in real life.
Yes,
It's just
it
this
does.
wall of fucking
tornado.
sand that's coming, and to me that is fucking beautiful, dude. Yeah, it sucks once it gets there. You can't see 2 feet in front of you, and you end up with sand in every single crevice that you fucking forgot you even had. I get it, but when it's coming, I have this picture of me on top of a bunker, just with my hands out. We were allowed to wear flight suits out there.
Nice.
And me in a fucking flight suit just doing this, and in the back you see I had plenty of time to get inside before that thing got here, but just this big ass wall of fucking, this wall of sand coming.
That's
me,
awesome.
That's probably like that shit is fucking awesome, like most people don't in their entire life don't get to do shit like that. So
I want to see that pic, man. That's fucking awesome, dude.
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll look it up. It's
because when people don't realize, like, when that sandstorm hits, that shit hits hard. It's nothing like
you can't see anything.
No, like up in upstate New York where we are, like we get blizzards. I mean, it's whiteout blizzards. You can't see shit, and it's cold and it sucks. But like the sandstorms you're putting a sandblaster. You're getting literally sanded down. Like you literally
can't. You can't see your fucking hand. If you extend it, you cannot see the palm of your hand if you extend your arm. That's how blind you are. And like I said, no matter how many goggles you try to put on and fucking shit over your face, whatever, you're going to end up with fucking sand on on your eye, your fucking nose, ears, the fucking back of your teeth somewhere, your fucking nutsack and butt crack. Somehow it just gets fucking everywhere. And there ain't a fucking thing you can do about it. You could not have a sandstorm for fucking a month.
Yeah. You're still finding sand.
You're still going to find a grain of sand somewhere. It just keeps coming out. Yeah.
So to piggyback on that, and then we'll move on to the next topic, which is your future, man, is just like you said, when I was in basic training and I was down in Relaxing Jackson, as they call it, Fort Jackson, and I had awesome drill sergeants. I mean, I know I talk a lot now, but like when I was in basic, I shut the fuck up. I was an old head. I was not in shape like these 18, 19-year-olds coming straight out of basketball, football, all that shit. So I just kept to myself because I knew I was not even in the same level with them.
And that's probably the smartest thing you could have done too.
I kept my head low because it was my last hope, to be honest with you. It was my last hope. So I was in a foxhole one day. Like I remember like literally like digging my hole. My battle blade was next to me and I'm just laying there. And you know how you always got to lay down on your belly and like keep out. So I was like, fuck this. For 2 seconds, I'm going to roll over.
You fell asleep, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, I rolled over and I had my M4 and I looked up and I saw in that sky all those stars, like down in South Carolina. I said, damn, like this shit's beautiful. Like we take such granted for just the small things like that, the moon and the stars and all that shit. It was just crazy to see like how beautiful it was. And like 2 hours later, we got ambushed and all this shit. So of course, that went to hell.
Yeah.
Pick up your sack and fucking keep going. But it was just like beautiful. Just for those 5 minutes, those 2-3 minutes, it was just like a screensaver almost. Just like boom, snapshot it, save it for later.
Yep.
But all right, so let me check.
Real quick. What's funny is MCRD San Diego is right next to the airport, and a little bit further down is SeaWorld.
Okay.
And SeaWorld every motherfucking Saturday night does fucking fireworks right at 9 p.m. At 9 p.m. that's when we put the recruits to fucking sleep. So if you were on the third deck of certain barracks that are facing that, you have fucking kids sitting there looking at fireworks. And so if you ended up in those barracks, you knew it was going to suck because every Saturday you're going to walk around finding a way to get these motherfuckers to not look at fireworks. And like, oh, is that right, bitch? You want to be up? Good, get up. You got Firewatch, get dressed. And, you can only have so many of them on Firewatch and shit, So it was a good time as a drill instructor, fucking having to deal with that because these motherfuckers want to do fireworks.
I gotta ask you that, man. So I know we gotta continue on, but this conversation is going too good, man. Most people don't realize like you were a drill instructor, like you had that shit. Like I know when the drill sergeants in the Army, the fuck games they played on us. And we've had drill sergeants before, like I had and Zach had and shit like on the podcast before. But like I gotta know, what was one of those fuck games that you played with either a private or whatever, like one of the trainees where you're just like afterwards, you're like, damn, I might have went a little too hard. Like that dude's he's real sad now. He's trying to go home. He's trying to go on that suicide watch. What's the biggest fuck game that your comrades played that actually made them like double think like, shit, I shouldn't be here.
I done fucked up.
I don't fuck up.
Well,
Like
I mean,
trying to spill peanut butter up your ass during fucking.
For us, that's and again, you know, not to get into the whole like Army versus Marines or whatever, but Army basic training is a lot more about the actual training, about teaching you something, right? Yeah. About actually teaching you some basic training, you know.
Okay.
We have 13 weeks to ingrain these motherfuckers in a culture that if they don't fucking drink the Kool-Aid, they're not gonna make it. They're gonna end up killing their entire fucking platoon when they get out of there. So that is the biggest portion of it. And the way we do that is in the whole goal of first phase is to get every motherfucker in that platoon, whether he was a fucking geek in high school that used to get bullied or the fucking star quarterback fucking team captain. Every motherfucker needs to get broken the fuck down to where they do exactly what I was telling you earlier, where you're at that point where you're in tears thinking like, why the fuck am I here? What the fuck did I do? You know, I done fucked up. Like, why am I here? You're looking at, and especially in San Diego, like you can see the fucking city right there. So you're thinking of fucking just jumping the fence, which a lot of kids did, and their own family would bring them back. You know, most of the ones that left, they had like an uncle or something in San Diego, and that motherfucker would bring him back right to the front fucking gate. But
damn,
when I was in Paris Island,
that's fucking, your own family brings you back.
Yeah, when I was in Paris Island, that's a fucking like island surrounded by fucking, you know, gators and fucking and nothing but swampland. So you really can't go anywhere. If a motherfucker went, you know, UA there went AWOL, he was somewhere on that base, fucking behind a trash can somewhere, digging through fucking old chow hall food, trying to survive for a couple of days. We'd find that motherfucker. So it's a little bit different. But anyways, the point is that was the entire goal of the drill instructor and that's the system that we have and we've had for many years is to break them down, right? And depending on the person, there's different ways of doing that, right? There were certain things that I learned as a new drill instructor. You kind of get this. You're playing a role, right? You believe in everything you do, but you are playing a role, and so is the recruit, right? That's not a man and a man, right? That's a drill instructor, authoritative figure, and a fucking puke recruit that's nothing that has to earn his way up. But there's certain things you can do where you break that, right? And now you elevate it to a point where the fucking little round cover doesn't matter. And the fact that I'm a recruit doesn't fucking matter, you know, which for many kids was different things. A lot of times, you know, people took it personal when they took you fucking up their name more personal than you even talking about their mother or something like that, right? Not that we did a lot of that or we shouldn't, right? But even if we did in a direct way, that was kind of one of those things that you don't make it personal because when you do, it's not effective. You want that motherfucker to hate you but respect you. And also in a drill instructor team, there's different roles you play, right? Mm-hmm. We have the senior drill instructor, which is like basically the daddy. He has all the power. He can make your day a fucking living hell, but he also has the power to fucking give you a break, right? And when a kid is suicidal or is like trying to quit, that's what pulls him out and say, "Come here, son, let's talk." You know what I mean? And then you have the next, you know, the J or the heavy as they call them on the East Coast, depends where you are. They're the ones they're the masters of training. They control all the training. They're the most experienced guy aside from the senior drill instructor. And then from there, like whoever's the lowest on the totem pole, your entire job as a new drill instructor, the lowest drill instructor, is to stress motherfuckers out. Nothing's ever good enough. Nothing's ever like whatever. So again, like I said, you know, I have some adversity in my past, and one of them was my very first cycle. You know, I did some things that I shouldn't have, and you know, Article 15 and everything. So the entire time that Sergeant Major was there, I was not allowed to move up in billets as a drill instructor. So I got very good at being that disciplinarian, dangerously good at being that disciplinarian. Some of my former recruits that, you know, follow me on Facebook and stuff, if you were to ask them about me, especially when I had a couple cycles under my belt and I was still the disciplinarian, I was the epitome of what the fucking you don't want to run into, right? Mm-hmm. And we even had like because yeah, kids going suicidal. That's, I don't want to say you want that, but you want to weed those guys out, right?
Push them to the edge, right? Push them to the edge and weed them out.
Yeah, you had guys who were bipolar, but they had it under control, or maybe they hadn't had an episode since they were like 6 years old, right? So they pass their screening and blah blah blah, but they have to pass the test there. So there was kids that within hours they were at the fucking, you know, at the company office, pulled away from training, just sitting there waiting to talk to the CO and stuff. and they're sitting there, doing this fuck shit, like whatever, like it bring that level of stress brings it out of them. So that's how you want to weed out the weakness or the mentally weak or people that just have issues, right? If there's a kid whose father beat him his entire fucking life, when they're wearing their cover back here, like they're fucking, whatever fucking Motor T, and you want to correct them, they wear it properly, and you're like, who the fuck said, to wear your cover like this or whatever, and you go to fucking grab that brim because your hand is up, they do this, right? Those are issues that people really come there with that they have to learn to overcome. So you want to weed all that out, and it's a make or break situation where they're either going to learn to deal with their demons and become stronger, or if they can't deal with it, some kids do go fucking suicidal quick because they've never been tested, they've never been in a hard situation, and the way that stress tolerance works, I don't know. I have a little bit of a background in a lot of that because we took classes and I took some psychology courses before and stuff. But basically, your tolerance for stress is different from person to person. But if you talk about green, that's when you have zero stress. Yellow is when you're a little bit stressed, but you can manage it, And then you talk about red. Red is like stress that really impacts you for the rest of your life. You can recover from it, but it's going to leave a mark. That is your soft spot, and that is like if you grew up, like right now I'm reading Will Smith's book. It's actually really good. I recommend it. But his whole life is based around the fact that his dad beat the shit out of his mom right in front of him. He was the oldest son, and he didn't do anything about it. So that made him feel like a coward for the rest of his life. And for the rest of his life, he always had to have a female that he was trying to protect or impress for him to be able to accomplish things he's accomplished in life. So some of these kids, they really have to, and it's our job to get that out of them. So we, phase one, at the very beginning, we get them at noon. We come out here. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos, fucking the drill instructors come out, march in, and make a quick oath to training the recruits, and the senior drill instructor comes out and my name is Staff Sergeant so-and-so, and I'm your senior drill instructor. I'm assisted in my duties by drill instructor Sergeant so-and-so and drill instructor Sergeant so-and-so. And our mission is to train you to become United States Marines. A Marine is characterized as one who possesses the highest of military virtues. He obeys orders, respects his seniors, and strives constantly to be the very best at everything that he does. I'll stop right there. I know the whole thing, but that's
because these fuckers don't realize that shit, man.
Yeah. So you start with this very formal promise to them, where the key thing that I always remember from that is we'll give every effort to train you, even after some of you have given up on yourselves. What people don't realize, many people don't realize, is that kids go to boot camp, they don't have the option to quit. That's not an option.
Right.
They don't get to decide they're going to go home. Matter of fact, every single one of them at some point should want to quit and go home. That's the entire goal. If you have a good team of drill instructors, every motherfucker in that platoon at some point is going to say, I can't do it. I'm in the wrong place. I want to go home. I don't want to train anymore. And then that senior drill instructor, he's like a fucking magician. He'll be like, come here, son. And sometimes it literally takes a Gatorade. You give a kid that's been in boot camp for 3 weeks, which probably the 2-3 week mark is the hardest part. You give them a Gatorade, they look at you like, this is a fucking trap. What do you mean drink a Gatorade? Like I don't even rate to drink the drinks that are at the chow hall. They're there, but I know that there's soda there. There's soda there for them to drink. But let a motherfucker drink it. There's pastries at the end. There's pastries at the end of that line, right? There's pastries right there. But a drill sergeant will sit right in front of the pastry, almost in the way of it, fucking just looking at him. Like I wish a motherfucker would, So they've been reduced down to nothing, and that's why they want to go home. They're just so uncomfortable. And it just takes that senior drill instructor to just quickly. Sometimes we even put them on the horn with their recruiter, bro. That was a great tool that I learned later on. If I couldn't get them to if they really wanted to quit and they just missed, Susie so much or miss mommy and daddy, whatever, and they were just like, and you're like, it gets better, kid. Like you just stick with it, make it chow to chow, like whatever, and it's just not getting there. Sometimes they put them on the phone with their recruiter because the recruiter knew him as a person, and the recruiter could remind them about why they signed that fucking dotted line. And they would go right back to training. But that is the entire goal, is to get them to that point. So to answer your question of what it is that I've seen done that gets a kid suicidal, everything that we possibly can, not because we want them to be suicidal, but we want to test that. Are you going to fold? Because I'd rather do it in boot camp than to make boot camp easier and then they go in the fetal position in Afghanistan. That's not what we want. We want to weed that out in the beginning. So my record, and I say a record, but it's kind of funny, but we always had this record of who can, you pick up a platoon at noon, give that whole speech and everything, who can make a kid go to the fucking naval hospital, on suicide watch first. And my record was 12 hours.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's
and it wasn't even that kid that I was yelling. We were teaching 4 kids at a time how to stand fire watch, right? A front post, a back post, a rowing post, and one checking the heads, the restrooms.
Yep.
They got to learn how to report their post and give counts and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there yelling at the kid. It's nighttime, but we don't sleep for like the first 4 days. And those motherfuckers only do because they're so fucking tired, but we're yelling all night. They'll sleep right through that shit because they're so fucking tired. But so I was right there in the front. I'm yelling at this kid because he kept fucking up the report. And the kid that was up there, kept looking, little skinny kid kept looking up. And every time he look up, did I fucking say, did I fucking tell you to look at me? Blah, blah, blah. So I'd yell at him and overall, over and over. Enough of that got to him within 3 hours after they went to bed. And by it was like 12:30, 12:40. We actually received them right before 1300, which is usually when it actually starts. But a lot of times, if they can get them staged and everybody's ready before, we'll start it before. So that time we had started before 1300, and it was about 12:40 when that kid he just lost all bearing and I just want to fucking kill myself. And a lot of them will lose their bearing, but as soon as you get in their face, yes sir, no, this kid was fucking gone. I could tell. Yeah. So at that point, I had one of the other journalists, hey, go get the senior, hey, get out of bed, son, come on, and we ended up taking him to the hospital. To padded room.
Do you have that voice?
What's that?
Do you have that drill instructor voice?
I was about to stay up and go.
I always wanted so. That's.
I don't know what voice you're talking about, but if you're talking about what we call the frog voice, I don't know if you're talking about what we call the frog voice, which is
the frog
voice.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I don't, and that's for 2 reasons. Number one, that's that is when you lose your voice. And I don't know if you've ever lost your voice, gone to a concert or anything, completely lost your voice. You have no voice. You can't talk out of your throat.
Okay.
But you have this diaphragm back here that you can kind of manipulate to make some kind of sounds. And you have to use all your fucking stomach muscles to do it. But you do it back down here because you don't have a voice. That's the only time that you would do it. I only ever lost my voice probably about 3 or 4 times because I have a strong voice. I was a JROTC kid, calling commands and yelling and shit since high school. And I'm a loud motherfucker as it is. So I didn't really lose my voice all that much, but there's people that lost their voice and have to use that. And then once they're out of the element of always yelling and losing their voice, they have a regular voice. There's some that damage their vocal cords so bad that that's permanent. That's how they talk now, Yeah. So yeah, that's not the ideal drill instructor voice. That's just, and it's like anything, right? Being a drill instructor, the hardest part about being a drill instructor is you get fucking hazed by the other drill instructors because you're the new guy.
Gotcha.
That's we make it harder on ourselves. The hardest part about being in the military most of the time, right, is dealing with other assholes that are making you do dumb shit just because they had to do it at some point, right?
Yep.
That's the way it's always been. Stupid fucking mentality that we were all there, you know what I mean? But at some point, like I don't believe in that. I don't treat my Marines that way, and they respect me for it. Do I make them earn it? Yeah, I'm very fucking demanding. I don't take no bullshit. I lack empathy. I do. But I also don't fuck with people just for the sake of fucking with them because somebody fucked with me. If anything, I'm ashamed that when somebody fucked with me, I didn't stand up for myself because the times that I did made me feel that much better and it made the whole situation better and it challenged that motherfucker's leadership when he was doing it wrong and it made him fucking correct it, right? But the times that I didn't and I fell victim to that because I was young or whatever, I'm ashamed of those times,
Gotcha.
I know
how many rotations did you do?
Total, so I actually did 2 tours as a drill instructor. I'm one of the only people that I know that did a tour on a handful that did a tour on the East Coast and West Coast. We only have 2 places where we train, and they mirror each other very much. But within the Marine Corps, we all say, East Coast Marines say the West Coast Marines are, Hollywood Marines, and West Coast Marines say that Paris Islands where they train women, because for a long time that was the only place where women Marines were made. It's not like that anymore. They've integrated both coasts, but
that's the way the Army is too. Like you have Relaxing Jackson, Fort, Lost in the Woods, Bennington, and we all tease each other about how our basics are and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the training is I'm not going to speak
I
on
was going to say
whether or
that.
not.
That's the thing about you guys is your training is very different, and everybody knows it. It's not not with the intent of one being harder than the other or whatever, but it is very different. I mean, I've been to Jackson. that place is There's way too many politics and way too many eyes in the training there. Where it makes if you went through Fort Jackson, you got cheated out of some training compared to Leonardwood or Benning. You did. It's just no fault of your own. But it is different. And Leonardwood and Benning, they are very different training. Also, it's basic training, but it's the basic skills you need for the career field you're going into. Whereas Marines, basic training, boot camp has nothing to do with what the fuck your MOS is going to be. None at all. The separation comes after. If you're a fucking pogue, after boot camp, then you go through Marine combat training to learn the basics of infantry. It's like a condensed basic skills because we say every Marine is a rifleman. They give us the very basic infantry training, whereas the ones that actually go infantry, they don't go to MCT, Marine Combat Training. They go to the School of Infantry. And they start, it's not even like they do the MCT stuff and more. No, from the very beginning, they take their time with all this shit. It's not just the Cliffs Notes. It's full on. They have the mastery because from there, they're going to break off into, mortarmen and machine gunners or whatever, whatever they're going to do. The separation comes there. But in boot camp, it doesn't matter if you're going to be in the fucking band or if you're going to be fucking recon. Everybody's the fucking same. Everybody gets, and I don't give a fuck who's a reservist. I don't give a fuck who, none of that. Everybody's fucking the same. And East and West, we follow the same POI. But of course, when you're in different areas, it is a little bit different. So, but to answer your question, my very first tour was in the West Coast, 3 years, and I did 8 cycles then. My second tour was only 2 years, and that was in the East Coast, and I did 5 cycles there.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I had we had my old Joe Sergeant Lit, because I can't pronunciate his whole last name. It's a long one. And he was explaining like the in and outs of the Army basic training, and it was crazy because from what I remembered him as of like 2 o'clock in the morning, yelling intelligibly, just fucking flipping tables over, fucking dumping garbages, the whole nine, to actually speaking down to the science of what basic training was. It sounds like you guys pretty much have a very similar formula of we need to teach this, this, and this. And if you can't get this, you're the fuck out. You're gone. It ain't going to happen. Absolutely. And it's so good to hear that. And
you know what I admire about Army drill sergeants is when you went to boot camp, who taught you how to shoot?
My drill sergeants, all down. I can tell you right now, Drill Sergeant Martin and Drill Sergeant Lit, all day.
Everything you learned in basic training, your drill sergeants taught you. Right? Absolutely. The way Marine boot camp is, we don't teach marksmanship. We have PMIs. We get those motherfuckers up in the morning, and we're the ones that teach them how to fucking clean and how to make their bunks, and we take them to the chow hall, and we teach them how to get their gear ready, blah blah blah. And at a certain time, we're dropping them off at the range with the PMI, and he's got them all day. We're in the background seeing who's fucking poking their nose and who's fucking around, and when they are, we'll pull them out of the fucking bleachers and go smoke their ass. But somebody else teaches them that, right? Even the basic field skills, we have, field instructors that teach them that. And our job is to get them there. Yeah, so the stuff that the drill instructor is that, now we do teach because we have to reinforce all that, right? Nobody's going to learn that shit off of one class, right? So we're the ones that in the evenings, we have to be there to answer the questions. We have to, the PMI will teach them something and then tell us what they taught and say, hey, can you run some drills and do some repetition work? Yep, got it. That's going to help them shoot better. Maybe my platoon will win range, and maybe we'll be on a platoon or whatever. But drill instructors teach drill. Drill meaning marching, drill meaning the basic daily routine drills, right? We teach them how to make their bed, but most importantly, we teach them how to do it our way. It's not just about doing it. A kid that shows up there and knows how to make a bunk will struggle just as much as the one who's never done it before, because they don't just have to they have to do it our way. And at the very beginning, it's, we do everything what's called by the numbers. So at the very beginning, it's literally you get up, you get online, we count off, blah, blah, blah. But when you start getting dressed, especially at the very beginning, it's literally one thing at a time, You get your socks online. Ready? Move. And they're digging into their cargo pocket where we had to put their socks away, and they're pulling it out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are. They scream, done, sir, and they're all sitting there holding their socks out. Left sock, left foot. Ready? And they don't move. They don't touch a muscle until we say move. Ready? Move. And then we're counting on 20, 19, 18, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are done, sir. And they're still holding their right sock because we only told them left sock. And we're watching the one motherfucker who got, because he's still half asleep, and he puts on the right sock. Like, good. Jones wants to put on the fucking wrong sock. Good. Socks off the body right now. We make him take it off. Yeah, we do that over and over. Yep. Trousers on, trousers off, boot on, boot off, over and over until they learn to follow simple instructions. Instant willing obedience to orders is the definition of discipline, and we're going to teach them that the basic way, right?
That's amazing, man. I mean,
yeah, it really is an art. It really is an art. Yeah. But like I was saying, that's the great thing about drill sergeants. They actually teach everything that you learn there. For us, it's not that way. We know how to do all that stuff and whatever, but that's not our main focus. Our main focus is the drills of how to do everything our way, and we also teach through example and through everything. Right? When we fuck somebody up for whatever they did, behind it comes at some point there's going to be a talk about, because you have kids from everywhere, right? So if you pull in a bunch of kids, and usually a senior drill instructor does this, right? But you give them an example, you're like, hey, if Jones leaves out his his fucking moonbeam, right, or a little flashlight. If Jones leaves out his moonbeam and you lost your moonbeam a week ago and he leaves it out and he didn't fucking lock it in his Foot Locker, can you take it? And you'll get a mix of you'll get a mixed bag. Some kids are like, no, that's his. Some other kids, the way they were raised, are like, yeah, he didn't fucking put it away. Like it's free for the taking. So you have to, like, from there, bring them all and explain to them why no, like, this and that, you know what I mean? So you have to teach them all the basics of core values: honor, courage, commitment. The Marines, we live and die by that, so we have to teach them what that means. It's not just a motto. It's really our core values and how we base everything we do. That is what the drill instructors teach. So our whole plan is based around that. And there's other things that get thrown in there, but when a drill instructor loses track, or when you graduate a shitty platoon, is when you lose track of what you're really there for, and you concentrate on all the other things, right? Winning drill and winning this and winning that, because that's how you get on a platoon. But I believe in the basics. If you handle the basics, everything else takes care of themselves,
And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want good, defined soldiers. You don't want shitbags leaving. I know, even when I got to my first station in Fort Drum, and the soldiers behind me and a few rotations behind me, they were coming in, like, talking to sergeants, like, oh, hey, sergeant, what up? And it's like, you're not saying that parade rest? What the fuck's going on? Like, what? No, no. And when I got to Fort Drum, they were like, oh, by the way, in AIT, we're doing drill sergeants now. And we're doing this and we're doing that because we needed to define that discipline. It was amazing to think, like, what did you actually learn in basic? I got smoked enough where even to this day, certain people like chief at fire department, for some reason, I just go parade rest. I have habit. You know what I mean? Certain people, I just go parade rest and just talking to them. Now, it's not perfect parade rest. And I've been out, what now, Zach? We've known each other for
2 years.
2 years now. And I got out in 2020.
Yep.
2020. January 31st of 2020. So I'm still fresh out. And it's like, how do you not, like, what did you actually learn? Like, how did you pass basic?
Well, nothing. There's a lot of people that go through it and they go into survival mode, right? Oh, I have to do this. That's stupid as fuck, but I'll do it to earn the title. Oh, I have to do that. Yeah, that's stupid as fuck, but I'll do it to earn the title. So they're trying. If you don't do it right, if you don't train this basic, this young 18-year-old and really teach them something, they are under the impression they're just there to get hazed, and they just have to survive the hazing in order to earn the next step. But once they leave there, they're like, man, I'm glad that's over, that hazing, blah, blah, blah. I went through it. Fuck these motherfuckers that are going through. I made it. Yeah, whatever. And they're making fucking TikToks and being fucking stupid. And they go back to hang out with their friends from back home that they were hanging out with before. And they resort right back to that, except now they're telling their friends that they're a fucking killer and blah, blah. Oh, yeah, I know how to kill a motherfucker with my hands and all this shit. Dude, we get it all the time. And I used to tell these motherfuckers, like, dude, when you leave here, you're just a geek in fucking blues. You're gonna see Susie, the cheerleader that never even fucking looked at you. She'll go out with you now because you're a fucking U.S. Marine and you have blues and you represent what I've built. You haven't earned shit. You're still a fucking geek in fucking blues. All you know is fucking Call of Duty and the few things that you picked up here. Don't fucking believe your own hype. You know, that little fucking Marine Corps martial arts fucking tan belt ain't gonna get you nowhere in a fucking bar fight. You know, so you better, you know, I would tell them, because a lot of people believe their own, especially Marines, right? Marines are very cocky. I mean, that's no fucking that's no secret. Because of our history and because how much we hype up our own service, and we really believe in our traditions and everything we do. Yeah, to a whole nother fucking level. Like, I mean, you can't compare it to the Army as a whole, but you know, there's certain MOSs in the Army that are the same way, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Rangers, fucking Scouts, fucking tankers, whatever. They fucking believe that their MOS is the best thing since fucking sliced bread, right? Where in the Marine Corps, we ingrained that into them, but more so on an organizational level, not on an MOS level. But it's the same thing, right?
Absolutely.
So motherfuckers leave there fucking thinking that they're fucking the best thing since sliced bread, you know, fucking God's gift to fucking earth. And, you know, they'll fucking get beat up on boot leave, you know?
Yep. So I remember, and we still got to continue on. I know this is probably one of the longest podcasts we've had, but it's been the smoothest as well. I got to say, bro, this is just amazing stories. And I thank you for it. Like, I know Zach appreciates it too, because we get dudes on here who are military and it's great, but like those real stories, like that's the real shit we're talking about. So I was in basic, and this guy, I want to say his first name is Colton. His last name is Smith, if I remember. He was an All-American wrestler. All-American wrestler. And he's 19 years old, you know, top fit, fucking all about it. And at that time, I was like, badass biker, fucking went into basic to not go to prison type shit, like fucking doing my own thing. And
you mean you watch Sons of Anarchy? That's what you really mean. Somebody left pretty hard in the back. What's going on there?
Oh, that was my wife. She loves that shit. But it was like, motherfuckers they're like, who's going to go? Because we were doing kebabs. Who wants to step up to him? I look around, fucking nobody. I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it. I said, whether I win or lose, at least I stepped up.
Yeah.
I lasted 13 seconds in the ring. I grappled onto him, did some wrestling around. This motherfucker knew more techniques than I did. Mm-hmm. Got me in a lock, passed me out. They're like, tap out, tap out. I said, I'm not tapping out. I'm like, knocked me out, tapped out. We get the pugils. I whooped that motherfucker's ass. But it's just those different levels, those different techniques. Like you say, you know, you think you know everything when you graduate, you know, because I've seen that too. Like, oh yeah, now I'm in the Army, you know, I'm going to this school. You don't know shit until you've been in real life situations. Like you said, the bar fights, the fucking deployments, shit like that. Like if you had to go hand to hand, you couldn't handle yourself. Yeah. Now I went against an All-American wrestler. Good for me. I got my ass kicked. I have no shame at all. I've had my ass kicked before then. Mm-hmm. I've won some, lost some. That's just the reality.
Yeah.
No matter who you go against, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. The Marine Corps, the Army, the services have nothing to gain from training you to know how to win a bar fight. That's not what it is, right?
Exactly.
You guys, you're combatives, you know, line training or whatever it is that I forget what you guys call it. We call it Marine Corps martial arts, but our Marine Corps martial arts is a mix of different martial arts that's kind of tailored to when you're fucking tired of shit with all this gear on, having to go hand to hand with somebody. Right? That's what it's geared towards. So somebody knows somebody that, you know, a blue belt in jiu-jitsu is going to wipe the fucking floor with you if you fight him in his element, right? But if he had all this shit constricting him and shit and a fucking rifle with the bayonet, he wouldn't know what the fuck to do. And you know how to fucking divert that, you know, whatever, you know. But we had a lot of kids. The thing is, we had a lot of kids who didn't even know how to throw a punch, right? I mean, my generation is different from your generation, right? Even within us, there's a change. Than from my generation, the generation before me, and so on and so forth. We had kids even when I was in boot camp who had never actually gotten in a fist fight. And I remember about what that percentage was when somebody asked, and I always ask. And over the years, that percentage gets higher.
Yep.
Who here has never been in a fist fight? And that accounts for the fact that some of the motherfuckers who said they've been in a fist fight are lying, right? So
You know, when you take a hit, if that motherfucker looks back, shakes out, and goes, "Oh, we're doing this now."
yeah,
We're playing a fist fight. But the ones who are sitting there crying, "Oh."
yeah. So when we start with the basics, teaching somebody how to throw a punch, right? How to flare the heel and use their hips. You know, these kids at the beginning, they're just sitting there doing this. They have no idea what the fuck they're doing. So now that they learn something, they think that, oh shit, now I can fight. No, dude, you barely learned the basics. Okay, so you know how to actually throw a punch. We'll see if you actually do it in real time. And if you know how to set up to throw a punch, or if you know how to stop the motherfucker that's about to knock you the fuck out before you even throw that punch. You know what I mean? Like there's so much more to it, and they don't realize that. But the yin to the yang, right? Or the devil's advocate to that story. If you take a group of dudes fresh out of fucking AIT or basic and put them in let's say a paintball course, right? Put 5 against 5 civilians who they have experience with paintball, but they don't have that shoot, move, communicate type training. Who would fucking win? Those fucking Joes straight out of AIT would fucking mop the floor with those guys, no matter how much fucking training they have, because the Army, just like the Marine Corps, they teach us a certain skill that has more to do with how to communicate and how to move as a unit and play off each other's strengths and use each other as in a cohesive manner. That is what we learn. That is what we're good at. So the bottle baddie system, yeah. They might have, fresh out of basic, they might not have taught you how to go to a bar and win a fight. But what they did teach you is if you go there with another buddy that just graduated with you, you're going to be looking out for each other's back. You're going to be observant of the area. How many veterans? I mean, you're both veterans. When you go to a restaurant, where do you want to sit?
Up against the wall.
Up against the wall.
What?
That is fucking.
And most, right now, brother.
Yeah, and most people fucking say that it's it's because of combat, this and that. I don't agree with that because I mean, there's many people who never saw combat, and veterans don't like to talk about that. The ones that did see combat like to talk about it. The ones that didn't try to avoid saying it. They won't lie about it. But the point is, I never left the fucking wire. But I think that comes from the beginning of our training of being able to observe an area, to know that if shit pops off, you're in a position where you're going to take the leadership role and get people to safety. That's just who we are. That's just who we are when we signed the dotted line already in here. And then the military just puts that into a systematic and an organized fashion, an organized way that we can apply what we already believe in. So now we have that skill set. And that's very important. That's more powerful than winning a bar fight.
I agree.
I
Come on, brother. Bring it on.
My wife,
brother.
I know what to say. She understands now. But a while back she was always laughing at me. Why you got to sit with your back against the wall? Why you got to do this? Why you got to do that? I mean, like, I gotta know my exits. I gotta have an exit plan, and I gotta have a plan for that plan too. If the first plan fucks up, So like anywhere I go, I know where all the exits are. I always sit with my back against the wall. I got to see everything.
Yeah, you're a fucking sheepdog.
I can't.
That's what we are.
I can't have somebody behind me. It's not that, it scares me that somebody's behind me. It's just that I got to know where everything is.
Yeah.
And if I don't know where everything is, I'll move. Yeah.
We want the vantage point. We always, right? Because you don't want to give that seat to somebody who's not going to do anything with it. He's got the best seat in the house when it comes to keeping an eye out, but he's not looking at shit. He's looking at his fucking, salad and his fucking avocado toast and shit, and tying up his man bun or whatever.
Absolutely.
But it's like it's another. Tony can contest to this too. It's weird too. I developed this habit of counting steps. So, like in my house, it's 12 steps to get up to our bedroom. You walk 12 steps, you're on the platform. You turn left.
Like 12, definitely 12.
Yeah, yep. And like going in the restaurants too, I know how many steps are to the door. I know how many steps are to the bathroom. It's a weird thing that I developed. I don't know.
Well, it's not weird. Where did it stem from? Do you remember?
I don't, to be honest with you. I don't, but I've always done it probably a good 10 years now.
I've seen some CQB training where they teach that in case you become blinded or in case smoke so you know where you're going. I've heard about that. So I don't know if somebody just taught it to you and you just don't remember or something. But yeah,
that's exactly what I was gonna say, bro. I would say because both me and Zach have gone through Firefighter 1 because we're both firefighters and shit like that. And I remember the first day, Zach came up my old apartment. 14 or 15 steps. I can't remember exactly what I want to say. It was 14 steps because I did the same exact thing. Him railing on the right and counting, and he knocks on a door. I open the door. We both said 14. And then the second time he came up, the dude right across the way, I'm not going to throw names out there. This guy was a shitbag. He comes out. He's like, who are you? Like, why are you here? Blah, blah, blah. And I remember Zach looks over. He goes, I'm going to throw this motherfucker over the railing.
Like,
why are you questioning me?
Just flip the switch, stay in your own apartment, guy. Just do you. Stay in your lane. I'm coming to see Tony. I don't.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I'm here.
Yeah, the sense of entitlement that some people feel is crazy.
Yeah. It was wild, man. But it's accounting of steps. It's the smallest little things that
I do it all the time. Everywhere I go. I count steps.
You know what's crazy is that you could be in let's say a Thanksgiving, gathering of your closest friends and family, civilians, right? People you love and trust so much. Having a great time, people you grew up with, everything, your loved ones. That is a good place to be. That's so comfortable and everything. But still, in that scenario, I am not nearly as relaxed and as comfortable and as content with as when I am with my brothers. When I'm surrounded with people who were in the military and I know it, or at least there's 4 or 5 of us in this party, those are the times when I can get shit-faced drunk and know that somebody's going to look out for me, right? And I'm looking out for them, so on and so forth. And these other places, I love them, I trust them. I don't think they're going to do anything to me. And it's not them that I mistrust. It's just if some shit pops off and somebody comes in here, I have no idea how they're going to react. I just don't know. I'm not saying that I think they're going to go in the fetal position or they're going to freak the fuck out because I'm home like good-ass dudes that maybe I've seen them fight. Maybe I know that they're courageous or whatever. But you just don't know how they're going to react because they don't have the training. Not specifically the training, but the stress tolerance training that I was talking about before, right? Because like I was saying, the green zone, yellow zone, red zone, black zone is where something happens and your stress level pikes up so much that you're never coming back down, right? That's when people like lose it. But the way that boot camp is set up is so that you go in there and you operate comfortably within that yellow zone and you raise that bar to where it takes a lot more for you to get in the red. And even when you do get in the red, because unequivocally, undoubtedly during your time, you're going to go in the red and something's going to stick with you and fuck you up for the rest of your life. But we also train ourselves to deal with that, right? Yep. Every Victor unit, I don't know what you guys call the units that actually go out there and fight, but we call them Victor units. They have a fuck, what do they call them? They basically have a psychologist as part of the staff in the headquarters that talks to everybody and goes and pretty much just scans everybody and is always looking out for those red flags of somebody that looks not right. Yeah, because you're gonna come into situations where you go into that red, something that's gonna fuck you up for the rest of your life. It's never going away. It's now a part of you. But how you recover from that and get better, it makes all the difference. The only problem with that is that just like everything else, right? When you're in the military, somebody's telling you that you need to go get your fucking flu shot. Somebody's telling you that it's time to take another PT test. Somebody's telling you that, you got to, whatever. You have mommy and daddy there all the time telling you what you have to do. You get your DD-214, you get out. Now it's on you to include your own welfare. Yeah, the VA is there. You have access to it, but it's on you to seek the help. It's on you to go get the next flu shot. It's on you to stay up on top of all that shit, right? Every 6 months you're getting your fucking teeth cleaned while you're in the military and you get out and you got yuck mouth for the past fucking 6 years because nobody's making you do it. You know that you have to do it or you're supposed to do it, but you don't do it because you're not on the fucking hit list. So that includes the whole like getting into the red, going through a traumatic experience and being able to get better from it. Most of us, don't search for that type of help, So even whether we have, a lot of times we say that it's the demons that we have from our service, but I disagree with that. You're going to face a lot of those moments as a civilian once you already get out. When you go back to the real life, there's some lonely, cold fucking moments that will fuck you up for the rest of your life. Didn't happen while you were in, but or some stuff could happen while you're in, but there's other stuff that happens after. And the difference is when you're in, somebody's looking for that, right? You come back, you have that fucking decompression period, you have classes on it, blah, blah, blah. When you go through something like going back to reality and going back to your fucking hometown. Yeah. Think about it. Somebody that does fucking 8 years, in the infantry or whatever fucking MOS you were, they go back to their hometown where everybody works at the fucking, sawmill or whatever, and fucking little shitbag Timmy from down the fucking road, who all he did was smoke weed when you joined the service. He smoked weed for fucking years after you fucking left. But eventually, 2 years down the road, he eventually had to get his shit together because parents kicked him out. He had to get a job. Now he's working at the fucking mill, and fucking now he's been there 5 years, right? 5-6 years. And you come back
and he's supervisor.
And he's your fucking supervisor. And this motherfucker ain't shit. He has no leadership ability. That the only difference between you and him is that he started working at this fucking mill 6 years before you. That's it. Other than that, you can run circles around this motherfucker. But those are fucking cold, lonely, fucking scary moments that will stick with somebody coming out of the service. And that's one thing that I have an upper hand in, is even though I'm just now getting out, I'm so connected with the veteran community because of REDCON-1 that I know about all that and I understand all that and I'm ready for all that in such a way that I don't want to say desensitized myself, but I've prepared myself to know that that's coming. And you could get punched in the mouth. There's a big difference when somebody says, "All right, you can't block it. I'm gonna punch you in the mouth now. Ready? Here it comes." That sucks, but it sucks a lot less than just being like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Walmart. And I'm gonna pick this." Bam! All of a sudden, you didn't even see it coming. So it's a powerful thing to know that the hits are coming.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
You got to be prepared.
And that's a great way to put it. And I know, we're doing some crazy time right now. Again, this is one of the longest podcasts we have. But Zach, like when you first got out, what was like your biggest thing, like going back to civilian life? Like what was your biggest, I guess, issue or transition, I would say?
Just dealing with the people back home. And it's going off of J-Duce's story about, shitbag Timmy working at the mill for 6 years. It's you've been doing the military for so long that you're trained a certain way. You have a different mindset than everybody else, and dealing with stupid people.
Yeah.
Was the hardest thing for me to overcome. I still don't like stupid people, but
But did you deal with stupid people in the military?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The difference is when you're in the military, if they are your peer or below and they're stupid, you can do something about it. You can really deal with stupid people. And if they're above you, at least you have the camaraderie of the person left and right that you all agree that motherfucker's stupid and you're going through it together, right?
Yes.
But when you, as a civilian, you deal with stupid people, you can't do shit about it,
Nope.
right? The person you left and right, to them, that person might not be stupid. They might love that motherfucker because that motherfucker hooks them up or whatever. So you literally have to deal with it on your own, and you just feel like your hands are tied. You can't do anything about it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest things. Is just trying to adapt and overcome to, how am I going to deal with this situation on my own?
Let me ask you guys this, right? Turn the interview just a little bit. Now that you guys are out and are doing your thing, you're rolling as in the we call the first civ div, right? Can you guys identify or can you remember like a turning point in your transition where you made that switch from what the fuck is going on? I'm struggling, blah blah blah, to like, all right, now I have my stride again. What was it? Was it, you know, is it a patience thing? Is it a change in your outlook on civilians or yourself or expectations? What is it?
Go ahead, Tony.
That's a good one. I think for me, at least, it was when we hit the podcast. Like, we were doing the podcast, we were doing our thing, and we were in the market, and I was promoting the shit out. Like, I'm like going ham with it. Like, yes, we're helping vets. We're doing this. And I give a flyer to this kid, and he takes it right in front of me and throws it in the trash. Right in front of me. Like it didn't even matter. And I literally was like jumped up, and my wife stops me and goes, "You're going to get that. Not everybody understands." Because to me, I was like, this motherfucker just, like, my honor, what I went through, what my brothers and sisters who didn't come back, you know what I mean? Like, all that, all encumbered into one. And I was like, he just threw that in the trash. That means nothing to him. But their blood means everything to me. Like, my honor. And I was like, that's where the switch hit. I said, you know what? I have to understand, not everybody has the same mindset as me. Not everybody has the same drive, the same thinking I do. And I need to respect everybody on that same level. Not everybody's going to understand what service members go through, what our mindset is, how we're trained, how we're differentiated from the civilian world. And I looked at him and I literally yelled out, I was like, dude, what the fuck? Plain simple, what the fuck? And he just smiled and kept walking. And I was like, any other situation, even in my past life, it would have been a wrap. And I said, we're doing something bigger here. I need to be professional. I need to kind of wind back a little bit, reel back. Hey, he doesn't agree with us? Cool. Move on. Charlie Mike. Go to the next thing.
That's a great story, dude, because, you know, the thing that's growth, right? That's you growing as a person, as a man. Growth, typically, in most instances, is a slow thing that you slowly build one brick at a time. But it's great when we can pinpoint situations like that. That day was not a brick. That was not a brick. That was a straight fucking whole wall that you were able to just bam, and it just fucking hit you. That doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's fucking great.
It was amazing. And that was my turning point. That was okay, this is what we gotta do. I can't think about me and my feelings anymore. It doesn't matter how we're doing. It matters about who we've helped.
Everybody
and who
else.
we've talked to, everyone else. That selfless service we speak of.
It's like it reminds me when we went down to Schenectady. I can't remember.
Operation at Ease.
Operation at Ease, and you know,
that was a great time.
Because with the podcast, you know, for me it was, you know, me. Look what I'm doing, you know, and I'm helping people. I'm talking. You know, I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Well, going down to Operation at Ease. So Operation at Ease, the lady down there, she receives these dogs or goes in and gets these dogs, and she trains them for the vets that need them. She gives them to the vets, and then she helps them train, but it's ultimately the vets taking the dog and training the dog. She's just overseeing everything. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I sat there quiet. You know, I didn't really say much, didn't really interact. Tony knows that. And I'm a type of person that I'll sit back and I people watch. I people watch all the time.
I'm the asshole. I just jump into everything. I talk.
You know, I people watch. My dad and I, before my dad passed away, him and I every Christmas would go to the mall and we would people watch. My mom would get you know, the credit card, whatever, go Christmas shopping. My dad would sit there and mall and people watch, you know. And
by people watch, you mean staring at mom asses in yoga pants, or?
Yeah, that back then, yeah.
Hey, whoever invented yoga pants, that motherfucker deserves some kind of medal. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's.
There are some people that shouldn't wear yoga pants, though.
Yeah, that's.
But
even the ones that shouldn't, look better in yoga pants than whatever else the fuck they would be wearing at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, Yeah, a fucking at least an Army Commendation Medal, something, you know.
something.
Thank you for the yoga pants.
YOLO.
Yeah.
But you know, I sat there and I watched, and it flipped in my head that, you know, this podcast and anything in life, really, it's not about me. It's about watching these vets, and how can I help them, not help me blow up, you know. But how can I reach out? How can I help them, you know, do what they need to do, get the help that they need. Um, and Tony knows, I talked to him after that too. I sat there for a while, and
Yeah, it was
really
just a real moment.
Really, that was a real moment for me. And I realized that this isn't about me. You know, it's about what they need.
Yeah.
So that was a switch in my eyes. Putting myself in their shoes, you know, because they have it. There's people out there that have it worse than I do.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's just that was one of the turning points in my life.
It was crazy, man. Yeah, that was a great time. So we have about 9 minutes left, we'll say, on this podcast. So let's get into it. I mean, we've talked about everything under the sun, and it's been great, man. And I'll be honest with you, I definitely want to have you on again, because this is like just a bunch of friends sitting around a table, bullshitting and talking about what we've gone through. And that's what our podcast is about. You know, just the real shit.
Yeah.
So what does J-Duce have for the future? And you can tag your friends. I'm just gonna put it that way on the side note. You know, being real, you can let them on.
Hot moms and yoga pantses.
Yeah. You know, to really get into the whole, like the why of the whole situation, right? I don't know if you guys have read that book, Start with the Why. Awesome book, highly recommend it. But to get into the why would you know, that's probably for another podcast for another day. But I'm going into real estate. Really, what my future, like I said earlier, is going to be is I want to be a real estate investor, right? We have a couple, you know, we have a couple of tenants right now, you know, but I just bought my last rental property back in May. But I want to buy one every 2 years till I turn 50, you know, so for the next 10 years or so, that's going to be the real retirement. Now I could do that by getting a job in my, you know, in aviation per se, and make a lot of money. But when I thought about what I'm going to miss the most out of being a Marine, it's the mentorship. It's the selflessness of helping others, right? That makes you, when you can get up in the morning and look forward to lacing up your boots to go to work, then it doesn't feel like a job, right? It's a mission and you're looking forward to it. So with this real estate thing, I can tell you, you know, I told you where I come from, right?
Yeah.
But real estate has really set my family up for success, right? Just as a quick out there, you know, California is everybody's like, oh, you know, it's so expensive out there. But I can tell you the house that we just sold last year, every single mortgage payment I ever paid, I got that money back and some. Mm-hmm. That house more than doubled in 11 years.
Yeah,
so
Cali's where it's at. I have a bunch of friends out there, and they're saying the same exact thing. From Auburn, California, all the way down to San Diego, like.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it's hot anywhere, right? If you live in an area where if you live in an area where the median, you know, house price right now is, you know, $300,000, that means that 12 years ago you could have bought one for half that. So your home would have doubled in value there too. It's no different. And at $150,000, you know, your mortgage would have been a lot lower. So the fact that you only made $150,000 back, that's still you making your money back, right? So, you know, I did the math. You know, we bought that property for $326, and this was back in 2009. My credit score wasn't as you know, on point as it is now. But I qualified back then. Getting a 6 point something % APR was not uncommon. But that's what I started out with. got my credit score up, refinanced. But point is, my mortgage was just under $2,400. I made it at even $2,500. And as I refinanced and I refinanced twice and got it lower, I still kept giving $2,500. By the time my mortgage payment was $2,000, I was still added that $500 to try to pay it down. So for 7 years we did that. So if you do the math, that's $30,000 a year. But 7 years, that's $210,000 I paid. In which was my BAH, right? So the military paid it for me,
right?
And then when I went to South Carolina for my second drill instructor duty tour, I didn't take my family with me. I was just going to be working all the time, so I didn't want to relocate them. So they stayed here. Meanwhile, my BAH went down $900 because BAH over there is a lot lower. So we dialed it back, and we were just giving $2,000 a month. The regular mortgage payment. So if you do the math for that, $2,000 a month for 4 years, that's 24 grand times 4, $96,000.
Yep.
So $96,000 plus the 210, that puts us at $304,000, right? When I sold that house, after paying the realtor and after paying everything that we needed to pay, $356,000 plus hit my bank account.
So you're still talking 40, and even. I mean, we're not going into details, but an even 40 grand profit.
No, 356,000.
Oh, 350. I'm sorry. This year's deaf, so
yeah, $356,000. You're
still good.
Yeah, money that I made just from my BAH, right? If I would have decided to live on base and not get into real estate, not buy my own property, or if I would have rented all those years, that money would have been gone. Yeah. And even the house that I bought that I live in now, we bought that less than 2 years ago. It's already gone up $200,000 in equity. My rent. Yes. Well, I don't own it, right? The bank owns most of it, right? Because I have a $550,000 loan on it. But
you're still working at it.
Yeah, but I that's the power of the VA loan, is that you put zero money down, you're basically playing with the bank's money, and any equity, anything that goes up, the bank doesn't get to keep that. You get to keep that. Exactly. My rental property, that went up already $40,000. You know what I mean? So and because I sold that house, I was able to put some of that money in Robinhood, and I made a shit ton of money there, and there's just so much money to be made, but it starts with, with real estate. And now that I know that, right, that's part of the American dream, is to own a piece of land. And it sounds very condescending sometimes the way I put it when I say, like, why are you renting? Hey, there's different stages of, and different struggles that people have in life. So if you're renting, I'm not looking down on you. I'm just trying to educate you on the possibilities. Cool, I see where you are, but you need to work towards, come on in, the water's fine. Right. So that's what I hope to do in real estate. Mostly I'm going to try to help, veterans. So for those out there, I'm licensed in California. I'll help you buy a house in California. But if you're not in California, guess what? I'm still going to help you. I know the VA loan in and out. I've had friends hit me up about them buying a house somewhere else, wanting me to help them. I'm like, I'm licensed in California. I can't be your realtor in another state. But what I will do for them is I'll search realtors in that area, and I'll call them, and I'll have a conversation with them, and I'll find out if they know the ins and outs of a VA loan. Because if they don't, you're better off not going with them. Go with somebody that does. If you deal with the realtor that tells you that you need to go to the VA to pull your VA loan eligibility letter, get the fuck away from them. It takes a lender, a mortgage. It takes the lender 2 minutes to pull it for you. Yep. From his office, over the phone. You give him permission, he can pull it for you. It takes 2 minutes. So when you're dealing with the realtor that's telling you that you need to go pull it yourself, like you had to, 10 years ago, that motherfucker doesn't know what he's doing. And there's many little intricacies about the VA loan that go against what the traditional loan would have you do, and you're going to end up paying out of pocket some shit and having to do some stuff that you don't need to do. The VA loan benefit is there for you to get in a house today, no ifs, ands, or buts. There's not even a minimum credit limit. Now, the lenders have some will have a minimum credit score, but the VA loan as a whole doesn't have that in their the VA handbook does not have that in there. You can have a terrible credit score now. Chances are you're going to have a harder time finding a bank to let you borrow the money. But I was surprised at how many veterans don't even know. They call it the VA loan, and they think that it's a loan you get from the VA or from the government. The VA loan's not even a loan at all. Yep. Right? So, and you'd be surprised how many people don't know that. They don't know that you get a loan from a regular bank. The VA loan benefit is just Uncle Sam telling that bank, hey, I know normally when you let somebody borrow money for a house, you only let them borrow 80% of what the house is worth, and they got to put the other 20% down. But I'm telling you, let him borrow 100%, and I'm gonna tell you right now that if he defaults, I'm gonna give you 25% of that, and you get to keep that, and then sell the house and make money on it. You know, that's basically what it is. The VA loan is your rich uncle being Uncle Sam, saying that, hey, let this guy borrow all of it. That's all the VA loan is. And even the ones that have used the VA loan, they don't know that you can use the VA loan multiple times, or that you can have multiple homes under the VA loan at one time. All this is knowledge that just people just don't know. And it's such a powerful thing. Once I tapped into it, oh my God, like I said, I've done great for myself. My plan was to, reach a $1 million net worth, in the next 10 years. I'm knocking on that door already. I'll be there in like 2 years. And again, I come from nothing. I did a lot of just blowing my money away like most service members. I didn't actually my TSP fund was all in the G fund up until like 5 years ago.
Really?
That's how much I didn't pay attention to my financials at all. I knew how to raise my credit score and keep a good credit score, and I knew how to get out of debt. But when you get out of debt, what do? You just go right back in debt and get out of debt again. I just kept doing that for years.
And it's a good thing to be in debt. It just depends on the debt ratio. Like economics like that is such a huge game. It's such a huge thing. Like you say, like it's okay paying a mortgage. It's good to pay a mortgage. It's good to have these certain things. Yeah. I mean, we could have a whole entire podcast of like 2 hours just on that, on economics.
I would love to. Sometime.
2-3 weeks, man.
On finances, we'll do that.
Our next opening, I got you. Because that is so important, because you see all these privates, and I saw in Fort Drum, and I laughed my ass off. These motherfuckers coming out here. Oh, I got my bonus check, this, that, and the other. I'm gonna buy the brand new fucking car. I'm gonna buy a brand new truck. Oh, we're in North Country. I gotta get 4-wheel drive. There goes that $60,000 truck they can't afford.
Yeah. I
picked up a 2018 Chevy Spark, front wheel drive, 1.4 turbocharged, like basic as Zach. This motherfucker don't have power, nothing.
No.
I got the brake windows. You know what I mean? The push locks.
And I'll tell you, you're better than me, because like I said, I became financially woke, like 5 years ago. But before that happens. Dude, my first re-enlistment bonus, that's one thing about the Marine Corps, right? Traditionally, other services have big enlistment bonuses. The Marine Corps doesn't. They're like, what do I get if I sign there? You get to be a Marine, motherfucker. Or if you want some money, go to the fucking Army or something.
Anchor
However,
and fucking Eagle. Congratulations.
Yeah. However, we have the highest re-enlistment bonuses compared to other services. Why? Because life sucks, right? Especially at the beginning, life really sucks. So why would somebody re-enlist, right? We have a hard. The Marine Corps has a big problem. The Army has a big problem with meeting their numbers for enlistment. The Marine Corps has a huge problem with retention right now.
Yes.
They're doing everything they can to get motherfuckers to re-enlist, because we don't have enough people that decide to stay. We don't have enough people who are fucking masochists and want to fucking, So my re-enlistment bonus my first time around was $43,500.
No shit.
Ask me where it went.
Where'd you go?
Cocaine and strippers.
No. I don't know. At least hookers and blow would have been a good fucking memory. I have no idea. Dude, I have no idea. I think I paid off my car, and I think I think I bought a motorcycle, and I think I was basically very very nice to all my family, and letting people borrow money and have money and this and that, and just pretty much just not keeping a budget. So that shit just dwindles away. Money sitting in the bank, if you're not financially smart, or you don't have that money allocated to something or have a plan, that money's going to dwindle away. It's like a fucking leak on the bottom of the bucket. So that's what happened with that money. You know what I mean? And then when I went to Iraq, when I went to Iraq, I had saved another, almost $20,000. Where did that go? Fucking who knows? Same thing.
If you don't have a purpose for that place to go, that's one thing I learned with a lot of bigger financials, like the big financial people. Like, if you don't have a purpose, if you don't have a reason for your money to go to a certain place to make yourself money, nobody else is going to take care of you. Nobody else gives a shit. If you don't allocate that money to a certain purpose or cause, you are not going to make money. No, I am very, very fortunate. Very fortunate. Yes, I can barely walk at times. Yes, I can't hear out of this ear. All this other bullshit. my bills are paid. I'm very fortunate for that, and I'm very happy about that. But at the same time, if I make stupid choices, then my fucking house is gonna be gone. It's very simple to do that. But I don't have money where I'm riding in a brand new Benz. That shit ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
My one car is paid off because I made smart choices.
Yep.
Very small, smart choices. I still have payments on my Jeep. You know what I mean? But if I didn't make smart choices here, I couldn't be there.
Yeah. So
It's all about those small choices.
you're not riding around in a Benz because you're smart enough to know you can't afford it.
Oh, fuck no.
But 95% of people riding around a Benz also can't afford it. They're just not financially smart enough to realize that.
They just want that bling. They want that show.
They are
want
ruining
that.
themselves. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Brother, I can't agree with you enough. We still have some time on the podcast. But what we were talking offline, again, I don't want to blow your spot up, but you were talking about doing this big the big news. I'll say. I don't want to blow it up, man. That's your story.
Well, that's what we're here for. So for the 5 people that are still tuned in,
I know, right?
I don't know if you can
thank you if you're still tuned in. That means a lot.
So again, I will say this, I don't judge. I'm here to help anybody. If you want to get into real estate or have questions about the VA loan or anything, hit me up. Like that's my passion, is helping people. Is being a mentor. Why? Because now that I have you guys in my circle, now I know that you guys are firefighters. Guess what? If I have a question in that aspect, my son decides he wants to be a firefighter. Guess what? I have you in my corner now, and I'm going to dial you right away and pick your brain about it. That's a smart thing to do, is draw from your pool of
networking
to set yourself up, right?
ABC, man. That's
I am now a real estate professional and an experienced real estate, investor, and I've used the VA loan multiple times. So anybody has any questions, add me on Facebook, Jerry Lozano, J-Duce, or add me on Instagram, J-Duce619, whatever, and hit me up. That is what I want to do. Yes, I'm going to be a realtor and I'm going to sell some houses, blah, blah, blah. That's just a vehicle to buy my rental properties. Really, what I'm going to dedicate my time to now is helping people become financially free through real estate. So hit me up, and it doesn't have to be down here, right? I was talking to a guy yesterday that's in Augusta, Georgia, and he knew a little bit about what goes on in Augusta, Georgia, but I had to tell him, like, the tax bill, the tax code was actually amended specifically for Augusta, Georgia, because they have the Nationals golf tournament there, and they made it to where you can rent, and this is good for everybody. It just started from there. You can rent your house out to a business for under 14 days out of the month and not have to claim that as income on your taxes.
Yes.
So if you own your own business, right? If you have an LLC and own your own business making fucking whatever candles, and it's just a little operation, it's you and 2 of your friends, rent your fucking house to yourself, right? To your LLC 14 days a month for meetings. Type up those minutes of what those meetings were about. Do it at your house and rent yourself a fucking conference room, right? And you deduct that from your taxes on your LLC, on your business, and you don't have to claim them. You don't have to report that as income on yourself for your house. It's a win-win, right? But I was telling him that started because of Augusta, Georgia. Every year when that happens, they don't have enough hotels or anything there for the Nationals golf tournament. So they rewrote the tax bill, or amended the tax bill, to where people and people do it all the time. People that live in that area, they will go on vacation or go stay with their folks somewhere else or whatever and rent their actual house, literally for thousands of dollars. Like, I'm talking, like, if you have a nice house, you could rent it for 7 to 10 days and make $25,000 to Adidas for a fucking Adidas team that's going to be there for the golf tour or whatever. People do that all the time, right?
Yep.
So I'm very well versed. I've been obsessed with it and done so much research. Anybody needs that help, hit me up. That leading to the next thing, like I said, you heard it first here. I am going to start REDCON-1 Realty Group with the same name that we do with the music group to help veterans, except I'm not only going to help veterans, but all the people who already know about what REDCON-1 as a brand, what we are and what we do, add real estate to it. That is what I'm going to try to do, but it's open to anybody. Anybody that needs the help, wants the help, has questions, hit me up anytime. That is literally what I am dedicating my entire time to now. So it's not you asking me for a favor. You hit me, hey, I had a question, I was wondering. No, it's not you asking me for a favor. I am putting myself out there. That is what my mission is going forward.
Awesome.
The same way the REDCON-1 music group mission was to raise awareness about veteran issues and helping veterans, network and unite and be there for each other. The same way REDCON-1 Realty Group, right now it's a group of one, it's just me, but I'm making it a group, not just Jerry Lozano Realty. I'm making it REDCON-1 Realty because I'm hoping to expand that. I'm going to find realtors in different areas that have the same passion and want to do the same thing, and we're going to get out there and help. Number one, veterans, right? Our brothers, come first. But anybody that comes from where we come from, right? People that need it. Because I'll tell you what, I'm not going to spend my time to help a rich motherfucker learn about realty, because guess what? When it comes to financial education, he already knows.
Yep.
They have that education. People who come from the mud like we do, and we can't blame our parents because our parents don't know. Dude, I'm teaching my parents shit right now. I am teaching my parents financial education right now. They just didn't have it. Nobody taught them, so they couldn't teach it to us, right?
And I feel like it should come right from the schools. They should teach economics 101, 102. I'm sorry, it sounds kind of echoey on me right now.
No,
We're good.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Economics 101 with shit like that, and that's what I'm teaching my daughters right now is like, and we're teaching it right here in our own house and I was teaching Raylyn, my daughter, about interest and investments. Like, you can invest into a company for, let's say, $1,000, right? If they win and they create a 4.5% gain, you can win this much. But on the flip side, you can lose 10.5% at the same time. You got to be smart and do your research. But they don't teach that in school. They don't teach entrepreneurship. They don't teach any. All they teach is pass your grades, go to college, get a degree.
Yeah, I have the same mentality, but at the same time, and one thing you got to know about me is any conversation you have with me, I'm always going to give you the devil's advocate, because I like to. That's how I keep myself centered and balanced. I look at both sides of the coin. The other aspect,
for 2 hours, bro.
Yeah, and that's why I say 5 years ago I became financially woke. That's not because nobody had told me before. I had plenty of people who were doing investments since back when I was in my first year of the Marine Corps who would tell me about it, and I was like, a buddy of mine was telling me about Bitcoin in 2016 and soar up and down that you would be able to make a shit ton of money if you did it, and I looked at him like he was fucking crazy.
Opportunity.
Yeah, and I didn't fucking I wasn't ready to learn it, right? And that's what my point is. I don't think it's so much that high schools need to teach it. It's that do high school kids, are they mature enough? Are they ready to take it in? Most aren't, and the only way they're going to be, the only way they're going to be is if we ingrain it into them, right? As parents, we have to make it of importance to them so that when the school gives it to them, they actually are ready to receive it and have a basic understanding. Most of them, they don't. We're telling them, no, you can't have money because I don't have money. No, you can't have this. You got to work for everything, blah, blah. We don't tell them the intricacies of it at all. We don't make it. We don't make it of importance. And a lot of parents are like, oh, schools need to teach this. But if we don't reinforce it at home, it goes in one ear and out the other. So
absolutely.
The same way that you guys probably had like PowerPoints about like fraternization and suicide prevention and shit like that. So you were blue in the face.
Everything.
When I first joined the Marine Corps, it was financial. You have to go to this class, PowerPoints on how to do a budget and how not to go buy that fucking Mustang at 32% APR. Like, I had all those classes, but guess what I would do? I had to go, so I would get my name on the roster, and I would sit there twirling my thumbs like, man, I can't wait for this stupid shit to be done. I didn't pay any attention to any of that until I was ready. And once I was ready, I paid attention to the classes that taught you how to get out of debt and how to raise your credit score. Once I kept my credit score up at 8, like I had a 800 plus credit score, more so than I do now when I had a lot of debt because I had a bunch of great credit cards and I owed, $4,000 on each when the max is like $26,000 on each. That still keeps your credit score up. Exactly. But I was over $20,000 in debt for nothing. You know what I mean?
Make it
Now
more.
now that I have zero debt aside from my mortgages, we own. There's 5 cars sitting outside and 2 motorcycles sitting right here. I have the title to every single one of them. I owe no money. I use my credit card for everything because those points are tight, but I pay it off every month. I pay 0 interest. My credit score is lower than when I had the debt. That's how that's how they get you, right?
Exactly.
So I learned about getting out of debt, and I learned about keeping your credit score up and blah, blah, blah. I learned how to do that snowball effect to pay off bills and blah, blah, blah. But I would just turn around and get back into debt, you know. It wasn't until I was ready that I took the next step. And it was when the realization came that, fuck, like I'm not going to have this little steady flow of income every 1st and 15th for many years longer. I better figure it the fuck out. Yep. And when I did, and I started reading books, you know,
education, man. I push that shit all day.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, fucking Rich Dad Poor Dad, great book. And that and Robert Kiyosaki was a fucking he was a Marine pilot. What's the other one? The Total Money Makeover.
Yeah.
Right. Great fucking book. Simple path to wealth to building wealth. Great book if you're getting into investments to really understand what investments are and how the stock market works. Because if you just got into the stock market last year and you're fucking killing it, I'm telling you right now, you don't know shit and you're probably going to fail because the last year has been astronomically fucking, it's not normal. Good. It's been very good.
It's going to crash hard, and the next 5, 10, 15 years, it's going to go down, down, down. So right now they're at the highest, but if you wait personally, and that's just my opinion, I don't know shit about nothing. I'm just a country boy who's fat and has a beard. The next 10 years, I'd say in 10 years, you will buy the best investments in stock. I'm not saying real estate, but in stock at the lowest in solid companies. And then the 20 years after that. So so I'm 35 right now. When I'm in my 50s and 60s, that's when we're going to cash in.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's when we're going to cash in.
Personally, I believe getting in is the key, right? Because even let's say real estate is the most probably the safest, you know, thing you could invest in, and it always goes up, you know, overall. But in 2007, that crashed, right? Even if you would have bought in 2006 at the height of like homes being overpriced and ridiculous fucking loans and shit, even if you would have bought then, and then when the fucking market crashed and your home price, the price of your home dropped by 40%, right? You paid fucking, you know, $400,000, and now all of a sudden your fucking property is worth, you know, whatever, 250 or whatever. Most people just let it go and shit because that didn't make any sense. But even if you would have just stuck with it, 7-8 years down the road, you would have been right back to where you started at least, and then up from there. So I don't believe in waiting to get in the market. I believe even if you get in at a bad time, if you have the patience and time is on your side, you will make money. Right. Absolutely. And the biggest thing that like Dave Ramsey, right? The Total Money Makeover guy, that he talks about is stuff like that, right? It's like you could try to say that I'm gonna do it in the future, but in the meantime, what are you doing with your money? If you don't allocate it somewhere,
wasting it.
Yeah, you're gonna spend it. So, you know,
yep.
I believe in just getting in, you know, and I started with the what's that thing that does the roundups? Acorn.
Yes.
I started with the Acorns account first, you know, because I didn't know shit about investing, obviously from my TSP, right? But I didn't know shit about like actual, like I just knew passive investing. I didn't know anything that I was going to manage myself. And while I was reading, I started Acorns account, started putting a little bit of money in there and see what it does in a year. In a year, I think I put about $1,200 in there of my own money, and then about $250 in gains. So I was like, I like that. You know what I mean? That's $250 that I made that I didn't have. So now let's try that in the stock market. And I get obsessive when I do my research and when I try to learn.
I'm the same way, man. My wife hates me. She tells me 10 o'clock at night, shut the computer down. What are you doing? Like Zach said last night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on that computer, learning that shit. Because that's what you're going to, if you don't research for your future, if you don't research for your family, if you don't be smart about it, it's gone.
Yeah, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's simple, right? And I did a lot of I don't know if you guys follow Meet Kevin on Facebook. Super smart dude. A lot of his stuff, and of course, you know, I don't like to take information in from just one source because that's opinions, right? I like to vet it and you know, Yeah, mostly like the way that he explains things makes sense to me, and I think he's a smart guy. I don't always agree with him, but a lot of it was that, and then just looking into stuff. So I mean, I've my whole goal was to make enough money in the stock market to buy a Tesla, and as of right now, just my Tesla stock itself has made me enough gains that it's paying for its own Tesla. I ordered the Cybertruck. I ordered the Cybertruck 2 years ago, and it's probably not going to be out for like another 2 years. But I guarantee you, by the time it comes out, I'm going to be able to pay for it with my gains from my Tesla stock. Well, I could pay for it right now. I could pay for it right now. So 2 years from now, I'll probably have enough to buy that and buy my wife a Tesla. I don't know. We'll see.
That's awesome. So I got about 20 minutes. And I know we just keep saying this over and over again. I mean, we're 2.5 hours in. This is literally the longest podcast we've done.
Yeah, we're just talking at this point. I don't think anybody's going to make it through the whole thing unless they speed through it.
They may not. But I mean, like the knowledge and everything. Like I just got to keep picking your brain, man. Like I am like all about this. So, and we can obviously talk offline too. But like, so what are you thinking about the whole Elon Musk going to Mars, learning different species? And do you think that yes, Tesla I think is a smart choice. I mean, he made great choices, and he made many fails too. I mean, he blew up 3 rocket ships before he made that 4th successful one. What do you think about
which is nothing if you know how much shit fucking NASA has blown up over the years. But yeah, Tesla.
The Army and the Marines fuck up until we perfected our shit.
Dude, the V-22, they used to call them lawn darts.
Yeah, yeah.
That thing was developed, and it was supposed to be out by I think 2014 or something, and they just kept pouring money at it till eventually it came out. I'm sorry, not 2014. I think it was supposed to be out by 2004.
Yeah.
And they just kept throwing money at it, and it wasn't ready, and they kept crashing and blah blah blah. But yeah, Tesla as a company was not profitable for I think till 2019. It finally made a profit.
Yeah,
it lost money all those years. It was losing money. It was, which all new companies do, right? You invest in a company, all money is going to years. Yeah, all money is going into R&D and development, and it's and building up the plant and everything. That's what you were talking about, investing that $1,000 in the startup. That's where it goes. You don't get a return until they either succeed or fail. That's when you know where you're at. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, and Tesla's like light years ahead of all. Yeah, there's all these other electric vehicles, but Tesla's so far ahead of them. They're not going to catch up anytime soon. They will catch up eventually, right? But not anytime soon. So back to your question about Mars. Do I think we'll get there? I don't know, dude. Like Elon is very smart, but he's limited by what he can't do it all himself, and I have more of a fear that he wears himself out, because that dude's a fucking machine, right?
Yes.
When they were building up Tesla, when they were getting that Model 3 out, he literally lived at the Tesla factory and slept in the conference room.
Yes.
Every night, 5 hours of sleep and back to work. That's all he did. That can't be healthy. You know what I mean? You might have all the money in the world, but that can't be healthy. That he's not a balanced guy. He's not a normal guy. He might be a genius, but he's not in it to fucking self-preserve. He wants to accomplish something. I think that's very powerful.
He has a mission.
Yeah. Will we get there? I'm nowhere near smart enough to fucking answer that. He makes it sound very easy. He talks about going to Mars and literally setting up nuclear bombs in the air in order to warm the planet up enough to be able to sustain life. And it sounds crazy, but if you would have told me fucking 10 years ago that they were going to have this fleet of electric cars that could go, big luxury sedan that could go fucking 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, I would have told you that you're fucking crazy, but
it still has the gas mileage of 100 miles per gallon.
Yeah. I love the way he thinks, the whole physics background that he has, that's how I try to analyze things. Obviously I'm not comparing myself to him, but when there's a problem, we tend to always want to put a patch on it, right? Yeah. If there's something going wrong, we try to patch it, right? If you fucking go to a Thanksgiving dinner and your Aunt May gets drunk and tells your grandma off, then the patch is, hey, we're not going to invite Aunt May anymore. I'm not that way. I try to find out what is the root cause. Who else feels this way? Maybe grandma like did some shit that everybody needs to get it out, you know, or maybe Aunt May is going through some shit and that's why she lashed out. I try to find the root cause, and that's how he does everything, you know, that principle of a first principle or whatever it's called that's big in physics. That's how he sees things. So the way that the SpaceX was able to get to where they are now is he called it. He said, first thing is we need to drop cost. And how do you drop cost? Well, the number one way they did it, or the way they did it, is build a rocket ship that you can reuse. Because back in the day, that rocket ship would go up and it would lose fucking pieces of it. They would just land in the ocean and it was trash. Millions
parachute and land in the ocean.
Yeah, millions of dollars that were just trash.
Yep.
They would just get thrown away.
How
Now,
many Apollos?
Yeah. And now he made it to where you can reuse this money. It might be expensive, but even if it costs 10 times as much as an Apollo, right? But you can use it infinite times. You just pay for the gas. You do a little bit of maintenance, obviously, right? You're fucking PMCS or whatever. You know, what do you guys call them?
101.
What do you guys call them? PMCS or
PMCS? Yep.
PMCS, yeah. We call them something different in aviation, but yeah, that's all they do. You know, refill the gas tanks, check everything else, make sure that it's sound, and reset certain things. But they use everything. That thing literally, once that part of the spaceship falls off, it literally lands itself in specific coordinates to a floating landing pad in the ocean. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the video, but it literally lands itself.
Yep.
You know,
and it's a big 10x10 too. It's nothing like, and they have it directed. You know, I mean, we talk about land nav and stuff like that of like 0.04. You know, each decimal has its own smaller point.
Yeah,
and this dude has it down by the inches.
Yeah, the trajectory to, I mean, just the different atmospheres have completely different math. You know, and he knows it, he understands it, but it's not just him. Obviously, he surrounds himself with very fucking smart people. You know, but it's yeah. So do I think that we'll get there? I mean, I hope so. It's exciting to think about that, but that's well beyond what my fucking little OODA loop can fucking comprehend. So I'm all for it. I support it. I'm gonna buy myself a Tesla. I think they're fucking dope. I'm gonna buy myself that ugly ass fucking Cybertruck just because it's ugly as sin. But I'll leave that to them. In the meantime, I think that him striving for it is going to bring about great things, right? Absolutely. And that's a powerful thing. If you have something that you believe in, I made a little live video today that I was talking about. You know, when you get an idea, when you feel driven to do something, and the reason I did that. Also, I'm also reading this book called the 5-second Rule by what's her name? Fuck, I forget her name. Mel Robbins is her name.
Okay.
Like
okay, not Tony Robbins.
What's that?
Next level.
No. Mel Robbins. She's also a motivational speaker of sorts. Like she became real popular when she did a TED Talk in like 2011. And she talked about completely other shit, but at the end, she talked about the 5-second rule. And that's what she kept getting emails about, so she wrote a book about it. And that basically means that, like, when you get up in the morning, right, your alarm goes off, and if you're the type that sets your alarm for 5 but don't really actually get up till like 5:45 because you know yourself and you know you're going to hit snooze a bunch of times, blah, blah, blah. But every day you plan on getting up at 5 so you have more time to get ready and you can make yourself a good breakfast instead of fucking getting a fucking microwavable burrito, or you want to do some push-ups every morning, whatever, but you don't actually do it. When you wake up, your first inclination is to get up, you know, but it takes within 5 seconds, your own mind will talk you out of it.
Yes.
And it's a powerful thing. That she explains it all, but basically when you get that inclination to do something, you just say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you get the fuck up and you do it. Right? Today, when I wrote on there, like, hey, when are you going to have me on the podcast? I was just joking, right? But when you hit me up and you're like, when? I was like, let's do it. I could have easily been like, well, you know, tonight's probably not the night. Like tonight I wanted to take my wife to the winery because I promised her we were going to go. We live right by a bunch of wineries and we even have a membership. And for a lot of times, so I was like thinking like today I should take her to dinner and I still have to do more Christmas shopping. And then you talk.
Now I got your wife a dinner and winery.
No. The point is, those are all excuses. Those are all excuses. my wife is kind of sick right now. She feels like shit. We probably wouldn't even have gone, but your mind will talk you out of it right away, right?
Absolutely.
When you get up in the morning, you hit that snooze button because you allow yourself every morning when you know you want to get up early for whatever. Every morning you hit that snooze button, you have to tell yourself, you have to give yourself an excuse. And the excuse, your mind is so creative that it'll find an excuse like that.
Oh yeah, quick.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'll just do it after work, or I'll just do this, or you know what? Yesterday I actually set my clothes out, so that saves me like 20 minutes. Dude, I can fucking, you know what I mean?
I'll sleep in that much.
Yeah. Your mind will talk you out of what your instinct, right? The front of your brain is all like the modern thing, but the back of your brain, that's not thinking, that's instinct, right?
Facts.
That's what happens first. You get that instinct to do something, act on it. Become a little bit more impulsive in the right way, because all these commercials and shit, they give you that impulse to fucking, you know, if you saw me pull out a pack of Oreos and eat it right now, right? You recognize Oreos, you remember what they taste like, you're gonna want some Oreos, right? And but we're quick to react to that because our mind isn't gonna talk us out of eating Oreos.
Right.
It takes willpower to talk ourselves out of eating Oreos because our mind is comfortable. They want what tastes good. We want what's comfortable, blah, blah, blah. But when it's something uncomfortable, our own mind, which is us, talk ourselves out of it. So the 5-second rule is when you get an inclination, some kind of desire, some kind of inspiration to do something that might be hard, but you know it's something that you want to do, it's good, just fucking do it. Just fucking do it. Say, you know, and don't overanalyze it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Fucking start it. And that's what I was talking about earlier. If you saw that, just start it. You know, you want to fucking start working out? You're not going to be fucking chiseled by Christmas, but that's no reason to wait till after the new year. You know, and that's what that whole rant was about. Do it fucking now, because everybody says they're going to wait till after the new year, especially around this time of the year. That's why I love this time of the year. You see it all the time. They say they're going to wait till after the new year. And the grand majority of it just push it further down the road. After the new year, oh, well, you know, I just came back to work from the holidays. I got to catch up. They never do it. And the other half that do go sign up to the gym and start going to the gym, they end up going 3 days, get super sore, take a week off, come back for 2 days, take fucking 3 weeks off, come back for 1 day, and then they end up they end up paying for a year of membership to the gym, like we all have at some point, and not fucking use it. You know, gyms bank on that. They know that fucking over 80% of people who pay for a membership are never gonna fucking step foot in that door on any given day.
It's an insurance company to them. It's I pay now. Don't see the customer because they want it, but they're not really going to use it.
Yep. That's why if you want to pay monthly, they're like, oh, you just want to pay monthly? Okay, that's going to be $35. Oh, well, what if I pay for the year? Oh, well, if you pay for the year, it's only $150.
Right. Or because 300 or 200.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot less. If a year costs 300, I guarantee you a month costs $60, you know, or what a lot of them are doing now. They're like, oh, it's $14.99 a month, but you have to pay a sign-up charge of $70. So they get you right off the bat. So if you don't come back, you already paid $70 plus the fucking $19.99. They already got you for $90, and you only went for those 3 days, and then 2 days, 3 weeks down the road, and then you knew that you weren't going to come back. So your own mind tells you, you know, I'll just start working out at home, so I don't have to pay this money. You're not going to work out at home. You know what I mean? Like. So that's a great book too. It's just, I hate how negative she is about stuff, but if you're struggling to do, like, it makes a lot of sense. It's pretty good. I recommend that book too. And full disclosure, I mostly do audiobooks while I'm driving. You know, if I'm sitting there staring at it and I got my glasses, I hate wearing my glasses. I usually only do that when I'm doing a lot of paperwork and I'm in front of a screen for a long time, or when I'm reading. And when I'm reading, my eyes get heavy. So I do a lot of audiobooks, but it's still good fucking shit. If you don't like reading, if you don't like books, dude, you're just giving up the opportunity to learn from others' experience, and you're limiting yourself to only learning from your own experiences.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely. I'm all about like the motivational speaking people, you know, like I said, E.T., Eric Thomas, Les Brown. I want to say Tony Robbins, but he already came from like a top, like he already came from money. So like I like hearing about the success stories from the grunt, from the dirt. You know what I mean?
Have you guys read Can't Hurt Me?
No.
Who's that one by?
David motherfucking Goggins. He was a Navy SEAL.
That sounds familiar.
If you follow him on fucking any social media, that dude talks like we talk. When he makes a post on social media, he's like, yeah, you know, your motherfucking body is a shitbag. Your motherfucking body doesn't want to fucking move. It wants to sit there fucking eating donuts and fucking watching TV. But you got to tell that fuck no. Your mind's got to be strong and say, I'm not fucking leaving. I'm doing this shit. You know, like he's very raw, and that's how his book comes from struggle. Yeah, he's a black dude, skinny, because he fucking runs ultra marathons, you know, or fucking whatever these fucking 150-mile fucking races in the middle of the fucking desert and shit. Like he's fucking nuts. But that book is fucking awesome. It shows the power of the mind.
Exactly. You know? Mind over body.
Mind
over will.
Yeah, this guy went to go be a fucking what's the special forces in the Air Force? I
want to say Ravens.
No. Fuck, what are they? Not parajumpers. Anyways, they have the special forces in the Air Force are basically, it's their main mission is to be able to rescue a pilot in case of a crash.
Yeah.
Right? So because of that, they have to train to do that. Motherfucker didn't even know how to swim, but he went straight to that and fucking mind over matter, he fucking made it through. And that's when he was in the Air Force. Then he went to the fucking Navy and became a Navy SEAL. You know what I mean? And now this motherfucker
it was no holding him back. It was just 100%.
No. This motherfucker, and he's a damaged individual. You can tell. Like, he is in pain, he's hurting, but he has to overcome by making himself so fucking mentally strong to overcome his demons. He has a lot of demons, and it's very apparent. He's very motivational, but I wouldn't want to be him either. And that's how it is, I believe, with a lot of motivational speakers, right? They are compensated for something. They're, you know, the peaceful motherfucker that doesn't have to be a motivational speaker and is content with what he has. That's who I want to be in the future. That's what I'm working towards. I'm just not there yet, so I have to fucking.
So it says right here in our comments, and people are still coming, bro. Like, it's crazy. You know, almost 3 hours in. How is this even possible?
I know, you motherfuckers drinking or what? Shit, can I go get a beer?
Shit. Special Operations, Special Forces is specified unit only in the Army. So, yes, Special Forces is technically only in the Army, but there's the specialized names in between each thing. So when I was going for airborne school, we had a dude who was an E7 Air Force. He went to Sears school. Like, this dude was like high speed motherfucker. And I remember I asked him, like, we were in the barracks and I was still PV2. I said, Sergeant, like, what are you doing here? Like, you're Air Force. Like, you've already made it. Like, you're at the top. He's like, I want to be that motherfucker who doesn't even know me. He goes, I want to be the John Wick of the Air Force. I want to be the guy who nobody even knows my name, but I've done so much shit.
You talking about pararescue?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Pararescue. Yeah, that's what I meant. And, you know, I forgot I'm talking to veterans, so there's always going to be a veteran that's like, you know, fucking.
I had to Google it because it was bothering me because I couldn't remember.
Yeah. Pararescue. What did I say? Parajumpers or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love, dude. That's why I love.
They made a whole entire series. I want to say A&E or something like that. Made a whole entire series.
Yeah, they're no fucking joke.
Oh, absolutely not.
They just don't get a lot of recognition, and a lot of people don't know about them. You know,
not enough of them. No.
Yeah, I love the veteran community. You say something, and somebody's gonna be like, "Well, actually," you know, like. Hey, we're the same way, dude. When you're in the comments, you have to be part troll. Like, that's how it is, you know, like.
Because if not, you're not doing your job right.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna keep listening, man. Right? Yeah, man. Yeah, but David Goggins, he's a hard motherfucker, and like he comes from a fucking shitty upbringing. He dealt with racism and his fucking dad beating the shit out of him, and he talks a lot about that, right? It's a great fucking book, but you can tell like that dude is fucking damaged and hurt, and he has to be mentally strong to fucking succeed beyond that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So we just had a Facebook user. So for me, again, I apologize. Sorry. I apologize, guys.
One too many.
Did you say you want a pile of guys? You should have joined the Navy.
I know, right? Fucking. So it just says Facebook user. Can you please state your name and where you're from? Because it just says Tony tags me knows my past with the military.
Lane Nelson.
Who?
Lane Nelson.
Oh, all right, my boy Nelson back on Florida. He was trolling us earlier last live, and bro, both me and him both come from very, very similar pasts in that sense. He literally lived like 2-3 houses down from me in Fort Drum, and it's Doc. You at? Oh, okay. Actually, should I go? Sorry, I should stand up and pray rest.
Just so you know, so Soldier Hard tried to share this earlier. He said that it's set to private, so I guess the only people that can tune in are your friends.
That's good. Let me see if I can try to change that. I probably can't. I'm honestly, this platform is really weird still.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to learn different ways to set it out and like send it. But I mean, if there's any way to, because everything on here I see is public, but any way I can share this, because for us, yes, it's great having generalized talk, having video, having, you know, our friends on here bullshitting, talking shit, because that's what us vets do. We talk shit about each other, but that's how we show we love each other at the same time. But at the same time, it's like showing other vets and people outside of our circle that we do count. We all have the same experiences in some sort of way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, we're not going to throw out first names, but Soldier Hard, if you can still hear or see or whatever, definitely, man, we're not trying to ignore you or anything like that. Definitely, if you can send us out, we'll definitely get you on as well. I would love to have the whole entire REDCON-1 crew on here. I would love to have you, Steve, you know, Soldier, all them guys in one big podcast. I think that would be so awesome, because everyone has their own personalities. Everyone has their own experiences. And that's how we learn. We learn off of each other. Because I'm sure, as you know, it's not just, oh, all of a sudden I was at, you know, training or the field, and all of a sudden, oh, yeah, now here we are. Yeah, now we blew up. No, it takes work, and it's a network. Like I said, me and Zach, I mean, and Zach, you can contest this, bro. We literally went to voting in to the firehouse, and we both looked at each other. We both knife hand each other, like across the room, and we're like, "The fuck, guy?
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you? Where are you?" And our two of our chiefs are Navy vet and Air Force vet.
Air Force.
Well, actually, he's still in, and they're looking at us like, "Who the fuck are these assholes?" And we're like, "We're the Army," and they're like, "Oh, we're fucked."
Yeah.
when
I was thinking about a job, I set my priorities, and my number one priority was just freedom of movement, right? I didn't want a 9-to-5. I wanted to be able to have time with my family. So I actually was thinking about, the fire department, because my neighbor is a firefighter, and what he does is he sets a schedule to where he just works like 10 days straight, and then he's off the rest of the month.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah,
he just does that full on shit.
Yeah, he's there. He's gone from his house for like fucking 10 days straight at a time, and then he comes home and they're out they have a big ass RV, big toy hauler and shit, and he just enjoys his time with his family when he's here. So, but I was thinking like that'd be dope, but at the same time, now you're still stuck with, I'm gonna miss some shit, because when you're on duty, and it's basically like mini deployments,
Yeah, that's the way it was. Like, so I have a good friend. He's a captain in San Francisco Fire. His name's Mike. I won't throw his last name, but he does like 2-3 days on, and then like
I think I know him. Hawk is his last name. Hawk.
Fooch. We call him Fooch.
It's not Mike Hawk.
Nope. I thought you go there.
I tried to get you.
Right. The Italian sausage in the can.
But you do know Mike Hawk, right?
Oh.
You were saying?
I love it, brother. But it's like they push so hard. They push so hard, just like we did, putting in that time, and then it's just overwhelming for them as well, And again, we've always said Facebook. First responders and military have such a close connection.
Yeah.
Actually, we are now joined by my man Nelson out of Fort Drum. We're gonna add him in.
What's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
What's up, Blaine?
It's cold as fuck is what's going on, man.
I heard you were down in Florida.
I was on leave for a bit. Yeah, I took a month off, man. I got some time off. Shit, man. I got probably about a month and a half left.
Nice.
They just let me know I'm only waiting on my DA 199, and then I medically retire. I'm out of here.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, the reason why I added you as well was because, you know, we talk about all the struggles we go through as vets getting out. And, you know, like our man J-Duce says, like, he did 20 years. He's in his 20th year. He's ready to get out. And that's civilian life. And correct me if I'm wrong, it's scary and exciting at the same time.
Dude, it's mortifying to get out. I'll tell you that right now. Like, just so I just processed through SFL tap. I started clearing, and dude, it's hit me like I'm about to be a civilian again. And before this, like, I wasn't a normal civilian either. So,
did you join? Did you join straight out of high school or?
No. I had my EMS already, so I joined later.
So you got a hand up, man. It's a lot of time the guys that join straight out of high school, you know, they actually do better in basic training because they go from, you know, being in high school where parents and teachers tell them what to do straight to somebody else telling them what to do and so on and so forth.
Yeah, until they get taught to do their own laundry.
I bet when you went to basic, you like questioned shit a lot more and had a problem with fucking just doing what you were told compared to
not really. I was brought up in a military household, so it was just something I was used to. Like, I mean, my family has more or less been in the military for every major conflict since World War I. So it's one of those, like, it's just part of it. I wanted to be a combat medic from a young age. Some shit happened. Recruiter screwed me over when I was in high school, so I didn't go right away. And I went and got my national reg for EMT. So I went in
that part before you joined.
Well, I joined it. I got that at 18, and I joined at 25.
Okay.
26.
Yeah. So this is just
like
another added bit of experience in your life, but you know, you already have life experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dudes that join straight out of high school, like they don't know what life is. They went from high school to the fucking military, then they get out there, they're basically a fucking 18-year-old again. You know?
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Thankfully, like, these classes, they do help some with kind of like giving you an idea what the outside world's like as an adult. The military does offer intern programs if you start SFL TAP early enough and get it done early enough.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah,
I'm actually doing a 2-month internship. So I'm still getting paid. I'm still getting my military paycheck, but I don't go to work. I just put a, you know, business casual and or just a t-shirt if we're just working from home. But I just go to my buddy's house as a realtor, and he's been training me. You know, plenty of time to study, plenty of time to get my real estate license and everything. And then when I go back, I'll basically have a month and a half to like completely check out and turn gear in and do all the final stuff, and then have my ceremony. And my terminal leave will be so that I'll actually be getting paid all the way till the end of April, but I'll already be working and everything. So
yeah, they want to medically extend me longer so I can use terminal leave. Honestly, I'm probably going to sell some back, take what I can, and just take my March 4th ETS date, because I'll have orders in like a month and a half anyways. So it's like between my PTDY for retirement and the leave I do have saved, I'll get way past that point. So I'm just going to sell what I got, because I'd rather take some extra cash, because I'm going to be sitting on my ass for a little while. I got, right now it's looking like 6 different surgeries when I get out that I have to get. And that's just to like try and get back to a baseline. I've already come to the terms that I'm I'm getting out of emergency medicine. I'm probably going back to college. Who knows what at this point.
Not a bad idea.
No,
well, just like we said too, is like it's like one day at a time, you know. And we can speak offline. I'll definitely hit you up offline, but like there's always opportunities out there. You know, as you know, you like pretty much you were my doc when I was getting out, and you saw how fucked up I was at the end of the day. And like, look at us now. You know, I mean, there's always options out there that we don't see or foresee until the opportunities arise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and going to school full time, you know, you'll get that BAH and everything still, you know. So
yeah.
And for I don't know who we got listening and whatnot, but if you're getting out, retiring, or even medically retiring, there's a veteran vocational rehab program. It's another 2 years worth of pay where if you show them, hey, I need this type of schooling and these specific things for this job, and you prove to them that this is what you need, they'll pay for another 2 years on top of your GI Bill.
Yep.
So say someone wants to go be a barber and they need all this barber equipment, and barber school's a year. Well, there you go. You show that, hey, I need this credentialing, I need these specific things. They'll cover it all. They cover actually more than the GI Bill will, as far as necessities for that school. Because GI Bill covers your BAH, your books, and the classes, and that's it.
Yeah. They'll cover only after you've used your GI Bill.
Oh yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yes and no. You can apply to be in that program first, but it does kind of mess things up with the GI Bill. It's
that if you still have your GI Bill benefit, that it won't get approved.
Yeah.
Because
I looked at it too. Like you have to use up your GI Bill, and then you go into the Vogue rehab. Yeah. But it's one of those things that like there's options out there. There's resources out there that you're not alone. You have options. You can take advantage of this stuff. It's there.
I have a buddy who was able to get his master's just with his GI Bill because he did enough schooling while he was in and used that tuition assistance and everything. And then he ended up paying for a couple classes on his own at the very end, but he got his master's, and then afterwards he was able to use that to get a second master's degree. So
see that's where I'm at right now. Is I have enough schooling out of the way, along with my JSTs from the Army, that with my GI Bill, I should be able to cover up to most of a master's degree, maybe pay for, I don't know, like a year out of pocket or student loan, whatever.
Yeah. It's still better than nothing though, man.
Honestly, it's a lot better. I have to co-parent with my ex-wife. She's going full-time to school, and seeing the struggle she has with like tuition assistance and student loans and all that shit, I'm happy that I do have what I have, you know.
Gotta be grateful, man. Definitely very humbling.
So definitely.
We only have a couple minutes left. Unfortunately, on the podcast as of right now, it's midnight in New York.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're going like 3 hours, bro. Like this is literally the longest podcast we've had, and we still have interaction, which is amazing.
Where are you guys, Tony?
Upstate New York, Middleburg and Broome, New York. It's pretty much about a hop.
I don't know the area at all. So when you say New York, I think New York City and then Boondocks, and that's all.
So I'm 8 hours north of, 6 to 8 hours roughly north of New York City.
Yeah, me and Zach are about. So you know what Albany, New York is? Yeah,
about we're 3.5 hours from New York City.
Aren't you guys over in Hudson area?
We're 45 minutes west of Albany.
Further up
more
north,
Hudson.
Yeah. Yep.
So you guys are like between me and Albany. Roughly.
Roughly. Yeah.
Yep.
But like I'm 20 minutes from Canada.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I could drive 20 minutes and go be in Canada. Another 20 minutes, I'm in Kingston, Ontario. So
That was a
see-
hard struggle for me.
You see this REDCON-1 T-shirt? That's what I was wearing when I went out earlier. And
Nice.
if I went
Yeah,
outside
I
right
hate
now, maybe I could wear a hoodie, or I could just go out like this. I mean, either way.
Man,
Oh, we got
I got
hoodie up
snow
all
on the
day.
ground. I got it like wind chills like 17 degrees right now. I'm in insulated jeans and I'm inside my house.
Bro, I as much as I loved Fort Jerome, like there's
Weather,
still
man.
times I speak with the Canadian accent. Like I still say certain words with a Canadian accent, but especially everyday conversation. But I'll tell you, I love being back on the mountain, but being south from there. You know,
Yeah.
I have more of that redneck accent. So we'll be playing COD or some bullshit, right? Just bullshitting around. And somebody from Canada will hop on. I'm like, oh yeah, but like we're right up in here in New York. Like we're just fucking hitting it hard. And they're like, oh yeah, where you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from New York. They're like, oh, I'm from Saskatchewan. Or like even just like my wife teases me all the time because there's a little place outside of here called what was it, babe?
Oneana.
And I say it's Oneanta, but it's a heavier, Native American tea where everyone else calls it and I'm working out Oneanta, Oneanta. So it's just like when you live there for a certain distance, it's just everything is Canadian. This shit's just fucking hits hard, bud.
Yeah. I mean, I've spent a lot of time up here. I can't wait to get out of here. Going back to Florida to get out of the snow for a little while. My parents, I have to do some recovery from these surgeries, staying with family, and my parents are selling their house in Florida. So not only do I get to move from New York to Florida, recover for like 6 months, then I got to move my happy ass all the way to Colorado.
That's a nice place, though.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. Especially where they're moving. They're moving up north towards the Feather Lakes, kind of north of Fort Collins area. It's beautiful up there. But back to the cold, right in time for another winter in the cold. And I'm like, man, I'm not ready for another cold winter.
You guys can keep that. I'm Southern California. I was raised in Southern New Mexico, and 10 years from now, I'm going to retire in Texas. Southern part too. Like,
well,
no,
we're almost out of time. Literally down to the second. So, my man J-Duce, tell us where we can find you guys.
REDCON1musicgroup.com. You can find that, or you can hit me up on Facebook, Jerry Lozano J-Duce, J-Duce619 on Instagram. Just hit me up, add me, Jerry Lozano Property at Outlook.com, whatever. If you want to find me, you can find me. And if you need any help with any real estate questions, investing, anything like that, any financial education, I'm here to provide that. It's what I do, and I'm not charging anybody anything. That's just what I'm going to do with my time now. So awesome. I want you to win like I'm winning.
Thank you guys so much. We're going to end the broadcast now and the recording now. Jay, hang on for a minute, and then we'll chat real quick offline, and then we'll Charlie Mike, all right? Lane, thank you so much for hopping on, man. I appreciate it, really. It means so much to me, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Hit me up earlier in the night. I completely forgot what was going on today, so
it's all good, bro.
We had a 12-miler this morning, so I've been up since 02. Well,
I feel you.
Roughly. I was at work by 02:30. Yeah. So I'm
good old 10th Mountain, climb to the top, right?
Yeah, something like that. We'll go with that.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Be easy.
Hang on real quick.